Bristol Motor Speedway is a racing stadium. Take Michigan, University of Michigan football stadium, add half again as many more seats. The banking here is steeper than Talladega. The straightaways are steeper than the corners at Phoenix, New Hampshire, or Richmond. This is one tough racetrack. Time to go trackside for today's opening ceremonies.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please rise for our invocation to be presented by Mike Rife from the Van Zant, Virginia Church of Christ.
Dear God, we thank you for your goodness and for your patience, and we thank you for this event today. We're grateful for those who are responsible for bringing it to us, our sponsors, teams, and officials. And a special thank you, God, for the workers at this track who have worked so hard this past week following the floods. This afternoon, God, we ask you for safety and pleasure. In Jesus' name, amen.
And remain for our national anthem by epic recording artist Tammy Cochran.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And for the words we've all been waiting for, Food City President Steve Smith.
On behalf of our more than 9,000 associates, gentlemen, start your engine.
Set to go racing here at Bristol, and there's your pole sitter. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Jeff Gordon's today's Bud Pole winner and earns a spot in the 2003 Bud Shootout. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Dick Berggren.
Used to be a huge advantage to pick on the backstretch when the yellow flag flew. NASCAR has fixed things up so it no longer is. Regardless of whether a driver pits on the front or the backstretch, he must enter the pit area off turn 2. And regardless of where he pits, he must exit off turn 1. That is new. First time in Winston Cup today. Mess it up, either go to the end of the longest line or it's a stop and go. To Matt Yoakum.
Well, Dick, in the driver's meet today, they asked more questions than probably any driver's meet in the last 2 years. One of the hot topics was lap traffic, especially after Saturday's Busch Series race. Leslie Wallace and a number of drivers said, why don't the lap cars just try to stay to the high side? Someone else said, what happens if they come down? Mark Martin said, I guess there'll just be another caution. To Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, Kevin Harvick led 137 laps here a year ago before having a problem. And all these crew chiefs off pit road have said the same thing. We've tweaked on the car, we've made changes, but none of that matters unless we bring the race car home in one piece. Mike Joy.
Thanks, Steve. Darrell, it's going to help pitting under green, but if you have to pit under caution, now you have to go down both pit roads at pit road speed, and boy, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, it takes a lot of discipline to run 30 mile an hour all the way around this racetrack, knowing that the pace car's coming, knowing you're losing time on the pit lane. But let me tell you something, that lap car thing, every year, it never fails. Bristol, Martinsville, the drivers all get together and say, we've been letting them down on the inside to get in our way. Let's move to the outside. Well, here's the problem. When they're on the inside, they're in the way going in the corner. When they're on the outside, they're in the way coming off the corner. So it's still a lap car. It's still going to be in the way.
All right, let's have a look at the Walmart starting grid for today's 500-lap race. An all-Gordon, all-California driver front row with Jeff and Robbie, no relation. Two Chevrolets share the front row for today's race.
Mike Skinner in that 4 car, this is their home racetrack, Morgan McClure Racing. Jerry Nadeau, he was fastest in final practice yesterday. There's Elliott. Sadler won this race a year ago.
As you look back through the rest of the starting grid,
Casey Atwood, one of his better qualifying efforts this year. Jeff Green won the Busch race yesterday. Bill Elliott starting deep in the field, row 30. Bobby Labonte makes his 300th Winston Cup start today. Petty cars occupying row 18.
and here's provisional land. Couple of veterans there.
Let's see if we can get Robbie Gordon on that.
Robbie, remember you got new brakes and rotors in the front. Get a little heat in them right there.
Robbie Gordon, it's a DW up in the TV booth. Got a copy?
DW, how are you?
I'm doing good, bud. You can go ahead and use that left foot on that brake pedal today. How's your car, man?
Pretty good and happy. I'm pretty excited about today. Obviously, it's real important to get through turn one nice and clean and get to the bottom through fast track around here at Bristol. So we're going to do everything we can to get to the bottom as soon as possible.
Well, I'm sure your friend there beside you would probably just slack up a little bit and let you down in front of him, wouldn't he?
Even let me have enough room to warm up my tires.
All right, good, bud. We'll be watching you. Good luck, man.
Should be good.
Robbie Gordon from the outside pole. Let's have a look at the Dr. Scholl's race analysis. Remember, Dr. Scholl's helps you to look, feel, do better. 43 cars, 43 came, nobody went home.
You know, it's kind of funny because I was thinking as I watched those two take off, I said, this start's going to be sighting. Because I tell you, those two cats, you know, they like each other, got a lot of respect for each other, but Robbie Gordon would like to get down in front of Jeff Gordon if he could.
Let's take a look at the weather. This is the one we're going to pay close attention to right here. 80 degrees track temperature. Yesterday in practice, 53 degrees. Even though the concrete is not that sensitive to weather changes, that is a big swing in track temperature. These cars are going to slide around a lot more today.
And guess what? Driver comfort just went, it got a little more difficult with the temperatures being a little higher. You know, we saw tempers flare yesterday, and this heat will just add to it.
Yeah, tempers and temperature.
Temperature.
They could be related.
I just hope today, you know, we had 15 cautions yesterday. I want to see some racing.
There's the Motorcraft cam on board Elliott Sadler.
I know Rubin's racing, but wrecking ain't racing.
We sure saw a lot of wrecking yesterday.
All right, DW, I've told you a lot this lap here, but I'm going to tell you one more time. Pull them belts real tight, buddy. We're going for a ride, 16 seconds a lap.
Getting ready to take a deep breath. I'm taking the green flag. Go, go, go. Green, green, green. Buckety, buckety, buckety. And let me down in front of you, Jeffy. Thank you.
500 laps of short track Sunday.
See, I told you he'd let him down in front of him. What was he worried about?
Robbie Gordon in that 31 car. He's going to lead the first lap of this race. All right, we're here in the 31 car. It's black flag for jumping the start. The pole sitter controls the start. Jeff Gordon, he'll have to come to pit road at 30 miles an hour. Now, remember, under green, he only has to do it on the front stretch. He's still going to go at least a lap, close to 2 laps down. It'll be a stop and go in his pits.
not so sure. I'm not so sure. I guess he can do it under a stop and go like that, but he's supposed to stay on the apron till you get to the back straightaway. Oh, trouble down here.
Caution, Buckshot Jones. And the first crash is at lap 3.
31 car just got a free pass.
Yes, he did. He's going to be way back in the field, but at least he's not a lap down.
There I have 2 pages to write down caution flags today. Yesterday we ran out of paper.
Well, we had 15 and 250 laps. Is there any way we could have 30?
Let's not try for a record.
You know, I was watching the start.
Let's see if there's any contact that sent Buckshot Jones into the wall in the 44.
There's Steve Park right behind him, and Steve Park, yikes.
A little aggressive getting that corner.
A little early to be. Bad place to give a guy a little shove.
Doesn't take much to climb the wall and hit the concrete here in Bristol.
Green, green, green. Here we go again.
First caution is a quick one. Jimmy Spencer now second to Jeff Gordon.
And he's go ahead, Larry.
Even though Robbie Gordon stayed on the lead lap, Jeff Gordon took the green flag at the start-finish line. Robbie Gordon in 41st was in the middle of the back straightaway, already a half a lap down.
And I just noticed, like on that restart there, Jimmy almost got a run on Jeff. So Jeff's getting off to a little slow start. Oh, Spencer got sideways.
Robbie Gordon was penalized because you're not allowed to pass the pole sitter before you come to the start-finish line on the initial green flag.
On the green flag lap, he just beat Jeff to the line, and that's an infraction.
Now on a restart after a caution period into the race, once the green flag's displayed, it's every man for themselves, but you have to pass to the right-hand side.
Michael Waltrip against the wall in the backstretch. He and Tony Stewart got together.
He's going to get freight trained here because he's hung on the outside. Continues to lose positions here.
Well, it's just like Daytona and Talladega. This is a little Daytona and Talladega. You get up on the outside, they're all going to go by you, and there's nothing you can do. Just ride and wait.
You see the replay, maybe just a little help from Tony Stewart. I mean, everybody's in a hurry. Even though it's 500 laps, you know the leader's coming in a hurry. It's best if you start deep in the field.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get lapped if you don't go. And you can't. The spotter and the crew chief are both hollering at you from the drop of the green flag. You got to go. You got to go.
He's still not able to get in.
Still can't get back in line.
He'll get in line back here at the tail end of it.
Let's check with Matt.
Mike, under that caution, Jeff Gordon came on the radio to Robbie Loomis's crew chief. He said, I don't know what he was thinking, meaning Robbie Gordon. He says, I told him in the driver's meeting to be careful and not jump the start. And that's exactly what happened.
In all defense, if you watch the two cars, they go at the same time. Robbie just got a little bit better.
Right there.
On further review.
But you can't beat the pole sitter to the start-finish line at the start of the race.
Right.
After a caution flag on a restart, you can once the green flag's displayed. But at the start of the race, the pole man controls the start.
Yeah, and Robbie was about a half a car length ahead of Jeff back here when they initially took off.
And then Robbie Gordon caught a lucky caution when Buckshot Jones got in the wall. So Robbie is still on the lead lap.
He's a half lap down though. But that's better than being a lap down.
Jeff Gordon wasting no time. He's put a lap on Dave Marcus. He sets out after the rest of the tail end of the field. Dave Marcus's car with Dick Trickle.
Yeah.
71.
Now, Michael Waltrip, he started 9th. He finally got in line, but he had to go all the way back to the 30th position behind Bobby Labonte here before he was able to get in line.
Yeah, you know that sooner or later somebody will cut you some slack and let you in, but sometimes it's way, way back there before it happens. And he's up there again. He can't get down.
And when you're up there, since no cars has been running up there, that's where everybody's rubber off their tires going, and it gets on your tires and makes you feel like you got 4 flat tires.
My tractor won't get no traction.
No. Ricky Rudd makes the pass for 14th on Dave Blaney. John Andretti and the 29 of Kevin Harvick follow through.
Steve Park's car is really loose. Larry, he jumped sideways just about every lap off a corner.
Yeah, he started in 34th, and that's where he's running. But Darrell, to come back last week at Darlington, I mean, this is the worst racetrack you can come to as far as physical ability required.
Larry, this place makes you dizzy no matter what. It just, I mean, it works on your eyes. You're bouncing around. It's just like riding a real rough roller coaster.
Fortunately, Park said he did not suffer the vertigo that, say, Ricky Craven had after his bad crash.
And Terry Labonte had that problem, too, you know.
Yes. And Park is saying it doesn't bother him to run here. He likes it. How about Tony Stewart? Very, very sore lower back after that crash at Darlington 1 week ago. Talk about a place where you got to come and tough it out. Here we are.
Well, we've run about 20, that's 24 laps, and look where the leader is. He is right at the back of the pack, ready to put people a lap down in 24 laps.
Well, we talked about Steve Park a while ago. He's got troubles because the leader's only 2 seconds behind him. I'm the crew chief. I'm saying take care of that race car, but the leader's coming.
Yeah.
Come on.
Go. Don't let that guy hold you up. And that don't let that guy hold you up is what causes you to bump into him, because you want to nudge him out of your way.
Right behind the red 23, Hut Strickland will be the leader. There's Jeff Gordon with Jimmy Spencer. And now has caught him again.
He's caught him in a hurry. I mean, Jeff Gordon pulled out to over a 2-second lead, but now Jeff Gordon, this early in the race, he has to show that patience.
And the outside pole sitter is just a few cars in front of our leader right now. And here comes Spence on the outside.
He's got a lap car up there as well. Brett Bodine in the 11 car. Oh, he's got to get back down.
Can't go. Got to close the hole. Mike Skinner was getting ready to shoot in there.
Well, that was a Mr. Excitement kind of move.
It was.
Let's get up top and make something happen.
It's just to let you know that I am here.
That's right. 27 laps complete. Jeff Gordon has led them all, but now he's getting into some heavy race traffic. .36 laps complete. Jimmy Spencer has muscled his way into the lead, and Ward Burton is off the pace. Let's show you the lead change here coming up on traffic.
Spencer's car looks really, really good. He can cut it to the inside and stay in the throttle. He drove under Jeff. Watch his car accelerate off the corner. Jeff's got to give him the room there, and Skinner got to run because of the 41 car taking the line away.
And there's Ward Burton, who continues to run but has dropped off the pace and gone a lap down in the 22.
And I ain't faking. There's a whole lot of shaking going on around here right now.
Yeah, Ward Burton definitely looking for a caution flag where they can get to pit road and see what in the world's going on with that thing.
These lead cars are just closing up on the back of the field so quick.
Our guys in the pits are saying he has an ignition problem. I'm sure he's tried all the things you would try on the racetrack, going to the second ignition system. Evidently, that's obviously not working.
It is all clear behind him.
Jeff's car, Jeff lost the lead because of just traffic and getting up out of the groove, and Spencer made a run on him, and he had to let him go, and then the 4 car got by him, but he got back around the 4 car. Now he's closing back up on Spencer again.
Now it's Spencer's turn to deal with lap traffic. Matt?
Well, Mike, during the final practice session, Jeff Gordon's team up and crashed.
Stacy Compton in the back straightaway has spun and crashed into the inside retaining wall.
Caution is on the Speedway, and that's a good break for Robbie Gordon. What a costly mistake at the beginning of this race. He's sitting on the outside pole, and he was 2 seconds from being lapped.
Everybody got a lap back. Hermie Sadler got a lap back there. Stayed on the lead lap. That's a good deal.
Rick Mast.
Yeah, Rick Mast as well. Kyle Petty was in danger.
See if we can see what happened here, guys. Down in the corner, 29 and 12. Here comes Stacy. He runs out of room. He gets into the side of Ryan Newman's car, and rather than to run over Newman, he spins her out. It's just a matter of getting down there, you run out of room, and you try to stay off of that guy, and you got the wheels hard left, and the back end comes around. And this thing is what we call, Mike, self-cleaning track.
Oh, yes, right down to the bottom.
The vacuum cleaner.
43 laps complete, 2 cautions. Jimmy Spencer is the leader. Today's Track Facts brought to you by KFC. This is the 83rd Winston Cup race to be held in Bristol. Jack Smith, the inaugural winner. As we told you, it's the steepest track on the circuit. They switched the pavement. The asphalt wouldn't hold up, so they concreted it in 1992 and started running here under the lights in 1978. There's fast food, and then there's KFC. Steve?
Sterling Marlin's talking to Tony Glover and Lee McCall right now, Mike, and he's saying he's a little bit loose from the center off. They're going to talk about, or they are talking about making an air pressure adjustment and a wedge adjustment when and if they do stop. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, during the final practice session, Jeff Gordon's biggest worry was the car not having enough forward bite up off the corner. They made some adjustments this morning. He is still loose up off the corner. He just can't get in the gas when he would like to Dick.
Tony Stewart stayed on the racetrack with his number 20 car, complained he'd like to get some more forward bike, and he'd like to get a clean windshield, but he's still out there, didn't pit.
Going green, guys, and that's every car out there is fighting forward bite. I mean, that's just kind of like what I probably tell him. Go.
See, he was down about 60 miles an hour before he even gets to turn 1. He's up to 112 miles an hour, just barely at 100 miles an hour in the middle of 1 and 2. This is down the backstretch, looking at the Fox tracks, 130 miles an hour into turn 3.
And of course, Larry, the problem is trying to put 800 horsepower down to this concrete. That's your problem. And you're always going to be spinning the tires and never have enough forward bite.
Ward Burton was in and out of the pits there. He's back in 39th position. We had a report that they was going to try to change that battery under caution. The ignition box swap was not working.
And Bobby Hamilton in the 55. That's Hermie Sadler up above a lapped car, and Hamilton's lost about 8 spots because he can't get down to the bottom of the racetrack to get underneath Sadler. Now he gets a place in line. Tough break for Hamilton.
Really is, because he's running pretty good. But, you know, there's certain guys that you can almost depend on to give you a break. Then you wait for one of those guys to come along. Oh, trouble on the back. 43 car around.
Hard into the outside, inside wall.
43's around.
Trouble on the back.
Caution is out.
Caution down, caution.
Third caution of the day comes at lap 52.
That's 43, 44,
and 14.
14.
The 14 did go behind the wall. They're trying to make repairs.
And the 43 will have to go behind the wall. He's got a lot of damage.
He's staying out.
And nobody got a lap back from Jimmy Spencer.
Okay, 51 laps. What do you want me to do?
I still want you to stay out.
Stay out? Okay, 10-4. A little hot in here right now. Can you be sure you give me plenty of water next time I come in?
You told me yesterday it was cool in here, so you just going to have to live with it, DW. I'll get you a glass of water when I can, but I can't hold the pit stop up.
Oh, man. I didn't know it was going to be 70 degrees today.
Should have watched the Weather Channel. I can't watch it. I taped it.
NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by UPS, is brought to you by Singular Wireless. Never pay long distance or roaming again. It's a singular nation.
50 laps and already 3 caution flags. Lap 4, Buckshot Jones into the wall off of Steve Park. Lap 41, in the backstretch, Stacy Compton. And lap 52, John Andretti.
So do the math. You're the mathematician. Every 50 laps, we're going to have 3 cautions. How many will that be?
30, just like you asked for.
There you go.
Kurt Busch?
No, that's the 29 car.
29,
oh, Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
Dick Berggren.
I'm with Stacy Compton. He's had a tough weekend so far. Crashed yesterday in the Busch race. Now behind the wall. How bad is this race car?
Well, it's pretty bad right now. Paid for these guys with Conseco Pontiac. We're running good. Just got under a car out there, and we touched a little bit getting up off the corner. And it's Bristol. I hate it for these guys. I tell you what, this team is about to turn a corner. And, we just can't find any luck right now. Hopefully we'll get some luck going our way, and we'll be back next week.
Okay, they're beating on it to Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Michael Waltrip's having a lot of problems here early in the race. He's been on pit road no less than 4 times. They adjusted the tow out, and Michael Waltrip was afraid that they adjusted it the wrong way. So they've had to come back in and take a look at it, and they're expecting him to hit pit road again.
And we got the 12 car on pit road here, Larry. He's taking on, looks like he thinks, oh, he must have some damage to the left rear there.
Scared
like
the left rear tire was rubbing the quarter panel. He was actually one of the cars that pitted on lap 45, Dick Berggren.
Yeah, that's the problem, all right. The 12 car, Ryan Newman, has had contact with another driver. He had a flat tire, so this is the second pit stop he has made to try and repair the damage to that automobile.
All right, we're getting set for the restart. They want us to crank it up, and we shall.
We're going to crank it up, baby.
Outside.
Tony Stewart going to squeeze between a couple of lap cars there.
That's exactly what he did. He squeezed through there. That's what you got to have. You got to have a car that you drive where you want it to go, not one that's kind of driving you.
But Darrell, we watched this car yesterday in practice. He by far had the best race car. That car was digging down there at the bottom of the racetrack. I think the question was, can Tony go 500 laps here today?
If he doesn't give out physically, his car is there for him.
But you know what makes him feel a lot better is that race car is a good race car.
Oh, yeah.
Leaders. Jeff Gordon was all the way underneath Jimmy Spencer down the front stretch. Here he goes again.
Whoa, Spence. Now, Spence, you'd get mad if he did that to you.
Clear low.
Give him some room, bud. He's faster than you are.
150,000 seats, and nobody is sitting in them. Everybody's on their feet watching this. Gordon gave him a boot.
Had to let him know that he meant business.
Right now, Jimmy's up in that second groove, and just no grip up there right now. He just can't get a bite.
Gordon's like a surgeon, though. He knows exactly. Just give you that little bump, just enough to get you out of the way.
Matt Kenseth in the 17. He's going to work on Spencer here. Spencer needs to get back down the bottom of the racetrack.
And you know what I was thinking about that 17 car, Larry? The way he ran at Rockingham, this is a kind of a similar racetrack. You know, that's a mile, I know, but they've got a lot of characteristics the same. Running good here today.
Yes, a lot of teams are using their Rockingham car here.
How about that 4 car? That testing that he did up here is paying off for him, isn't it, Matt?
It sure is, DW, having the best run of the season for Mike Skinner. But the team's heart sank under that caution when Mike came out and said, guys, I think I've got a right front tire going down. So he pulled up alongside Matt Kenseth, who was running in third. And Matt, look at it. Matt gave the thumbs up, so the tire's okay.
And what happened when you've got the hot tires and you go to caution? We talked about it earlier. You pick up that rubber, and it will make you feel like you have a flat tire on a restart. You have to do a good job of getting those tires cleaned off.
That's why the crew chiefs are always hollering at the drivers, clean them up now, clean them up, because you always got buildup on them after a caution.
Tony Stewart in 6th. He has Ward Burton, lap car in front of him as he moves toward the front. Dick?
And as you heard earlier in our broadcast, Tony Stewart has every intention of finishing this race, but he is a badly beaten up race car driver. They're keeping it very low key, but Todd Bodine is in the area, and he will be ready to get in that car if needed. He is not in the pit area, but he's on the property, and he is the designated driver.
We look at our Fox tracks. He is making some gains on that leader right now, Jeff Gordon. Just a real neat story about this race car. This is the car that he won with here in August. They have changed Victory Lane, completely moved it. When they were testing up here, they were tearing the old Victory Lane down. The team said, hey, you know, our car was the last car in that old Victory Lane. They went over there and gathered up a bunch of pieces of the old Victory Lane and took it back to the shop.
Well, I tell you one thing they'll have to do. They may have to pull Tony Stewart out of that car after this race is over with. But I don't believe he's going to get out of that hot rod.
Bobby Hamilton works around Michael Waltrip. Jimmy Johnson comes along with him. Then Steve Park, Ryan Newman.
And Larry, you know this. Of all the injuries I ever had in racing, when I was in my race car, I was the most comfortable, believe it or not, because I was in my little domain, my own little world there, and I focused on racing, and I never thought about how much pain I was in.
But when you climbed out of that race car, you know how many aches and pains you had.
Call the ambulance.
Newman, Kyle Petty, Rick Bast, and then the leader, Jeff Gordon. Steve?
Mike, just a quick follow-up on Michael Waltrip. I mentioned he was on pit road 4 times. On one of those efforts, Kyle Petty got into him, and there's a lot of damage to the left front corner of that 15 car. In fact, his crew has already gone back into the garage to the crash cart. They may have to bring Michael Waltrip in.
Well, something so simple as a little bit of a toe, get the toe in knocked out. We're only talking about 1/8 of an inch, but you can't drive it if it's not there.
Now, right here, earlier, this is how Spencer took the lead from Gordon when Gordon started catching the lap cars, and he's right on his rear bumper again.
Well, you know why? Because Jeff Gordon is real cautious. And Jimmy Spencer, does he know what that word means?
Let's just say Gordon handles the lap traffic a little more delicately.
There you
now,
go.
let's look back to yesterday's Busch race. Spencer did not have a mark on his car until the last lap.
Well, he was determined to get one on it.
And did.
And he didn't want to finish the day without a mark on his car.
Last corner of the last lap. work under Rick Mast.
And again, as we got to 76 laps on tires now, some of that good grip and that good handling feeling that you had is going to go away over the next several laps.
How about it, Matt?
Well, Mike, you know how spotters are so important, especially here at Bristol. Under that caution, Jeff Gordon came out and told his spotter, Ron Thiel, it's very important that you keep me on the bottom. He says, I've tried the outside, and it's just not there yet. You need to keep me on the bottom.
This place looks like a twice as large version of Thiel's home track, Riverhead, Long Island. So you're pretty familiar with the contours of this place.
But look, you're never out of traffic. Jeff Gordon gets a few laps here in the clear, and then he's right back up in traffic again, and that's the way it is all day long. It's like getting in a big crowd of people. And as you know, you get pushed around a little bit, you say, excuse me, and you get pushed around a little bit, excuse me. Pretty soon you say, somebody push me again, I'm going to knock the fire out of it.
500 laps in a blender.
But I tell you, the fastest car on the racetrack, Tony Stewart, in that 20 car started 13th. He's up to the 5th position right now. And here we're going to look at the Fox tracks. A while ago, it was about 2.5, 2 3/4 seconds.
Oh, trouble over on the back.
Steve Park is spun.
And
caution is out.
Lap 81, 4th caution of the day.
All right, DW, 80 laps. I believe I'm going to give you 4 tires now. But we have a group of cars that pitted about 35 laps ago. I have a feeling that group may stay out.
Well, let me ask you something. Could you open up those air ducts that I told you to tape up last night?
As long as it don't cost my pit stop. Not going to give up no positions in these pits. You want to be comfortable, you have to sit in that lazy boy and watch the race on Fox.
In other words, quit working your mouth and start working your hands. Is that what you're trying to say?
Now let's see what happens to Steve Park in turn 2. Got down on the flat.
Too low on the racetrack. There's such a transition right there between that asphalt and concrete.
I'd have to back that up a little bit further, boys, if you could, because he didn't just get down there. There you go.
He was already loose when he got there.
He got under Bobby. Same thing we saw happen to the 14 car. He got down there and didn't have anywhere to go, and he had to cut it hard, and he spun out.
Leaders are on pit road, 30 miles an hour. All right, they have to enter on turn 2, 30 miles an hour, all the way down to backstretch pits. Pit road is a continuation through 3 and 4. There's no teams pitting there, no wall, but it's a continuation. You still have to maintain 30 miles an hour. See, they entered right here. This is still part of pit road right here, 30 miles an hour. A lot of those guys are pitting up here on the front stretch. So pit road goes from turn 2 to turn 1. Tried to even it up and not be a disadvantage pitting on the backstretch.
Now, several cars went in the back straightaway pit. The 48 car, here comes Terry Labonte. He was the first one in his pit box. He's off the back pit lane now. See where he comes out, Steve.
Hey, DW, Sterling Marlin said he's still just a little bit loose off. They want to make a wedge adjustment. 4 tires for Sterling Marlin's Dodge. Dick Berggren.
Tony Stewart is tight in the center of the corners. He's asked for more forward bite, even though that might make the tight in the center worse. He said he's going to fix it the way he drives the car. To Matt.
And Jeff Gordon is already down and away, beating Spencer off. They made a slight air pressure adjustment in the right rear. He was very pleased with the way the car cut in the center of the corner. He just needed some help up off the corner.
One member of Casey Atwood's crew limped back across the wall. He was bumped hard by Sterling Marlin as Sterling exited his pit. "86 laps complete in the Food City 500. We're working the 4th caution of the day for Steve Park's spin at turn 2. Now the 5 leaders did not pit under this caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin. Now here are the fellows who did pit and where they came out.
The real loser there was Mike Skinner. Came in 4th, went out 21st. But I talked to a lot of the crew chiefs this morning, especially guys that qualified bad and was on the backstretch pits, would include Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, and Joe Nemechek. They said they were going to have to make a move in the race to try to get track position. They were all on pit road at lap 45, about 30 laps on their tires. That's no kind of laps on their tires. And there they are right there. See, top 5 right there now. Look where they looked before the pits, where they were running on the racetrack. Got that track position.
That could pay off later on. They're out of sequence. That's what I like.
Pace
If your
car's
car's
coming
not
in.
that good, that's a good move sometimes.
Getting set for the restart. Green flag to begin lap 89. Oh, Ward Burton gets into his teammate there. That's Strickland.
Both those cars are trying to get a lap back right now. Jeff Burton in the 99 took the lead from Dale Earnhardt Jr. while this was going on. This is a telemetry on Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there. You see about 8,800 into the straightaway, about 6,800, feathering a little bit right there. Up to about 8,900 right there. The end of the front stretch, down about 6,500.
Clear, clear.
Whoa, Mark Martin up to the fence as he got boxed out in traffic and lost about 7 positions. It's tagged by Johnny Benson right there. He was on the outside, blocked behind Hermie Sadler, and when he got down to the lane, he got nerfed again, and they were 3 abreast. And that cost Mark, who makes his 500th Winston Cup start today, cost him dearly. It's a bump from Tony, and they're 3 abreast there.
Of course, Tony has those fresh tires. Mark Martin on 35-lap tires. That'll cause your car to be a little bit better right there.
That's such a, I mean, I know track position is important, but more when you lose grip and the guy behind you's got 4 freshmen, he's going to use you up.
And that's the thing. They don't see the give up on the stopwatch with older tires. It's just the grip it has.
You can't maneuver the car around. That's what happens.
Jeff Burton, the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Spencer, and Tony Stewart, Joe Nemechek, and this man, Rusty Wallace, the winningest active driver here with 9 wins, Dick Berggren.
Rusty had a real good pit stop. They time it a little differently than we do. Their timing is a little quicker. They had it at 14.7. They loosened the car up a little bit. He came out of the pits in 10th spot. He started the race in 9th spot, and right now he's running in 7th. And that.
Dick, Jimmy Spencer came out of the pits second, right behind Jeff Gordon. Currently rides in the 5th position. Jimmy said his number 41 car started out on the tight side, but as the run progressed, the car worked itself to neutral, and it stayed there. They took 1 pound out of both rear tires, just trying to get some forward bite up off the corner to Steve Burns.
Well, Mac, Kevin Harvick's having a rough afternoon so far. He took on 4 tires, got gas. They wanted to give him more forward bite to that number 29 car.
And we're hearing that from a lot of people. It's such a compromise here, Darrell. Where you really have to have your race car good is right in the middle of the corner. Have that car turn. But sometimes to do that, Jeff, what you actually do, you hurt the exit of the corner. The rear wheels won't hook up to the racetrack on acceleration, and that's called lack of forward bite.
Larry, you're exactly right. And one other thing we want to keep going back to is all weekend it's been really cool at this racetrack, and we got a whole lot more a warmer temperature today. And you know yourself, it may not be exactly what we talk about as far as concrete temperature being affected, but that rubber that gets on top of that concrete still gets warm under sunlight, and therefore the racetrack gets greasy when it gets like that.
Yeah, what'll happen, you know, your driver tell you, well, I'm tight in the center, a little loose off. You'll fix the tight in the center, have it turn, and they'll say, but you got me looser off because you've made it turn better.
Yeah, what the track is so, I mean, it's got little ridges in it. It's concrete, and the tires they just can't hook up. Once they get the air pressure built up in them, they just want to spin. They get bumped loose. Bop, 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 bop.
And I talked to Mike Skinner last night. He said, Larry, I finally realized on into a run, you can't just nail the throttle. You have to put it halfway down. Car feels like it hooks up. You go ahead and go down. We got a battle for second place here. Jeff Gordon goes by Dale Earnhardt Jr.
So you got to pull a real low gear here in the race. It's, again, I call it passing gear. You qualify with a, I don't know what, Larry, a 514. 525. You race a 543. 543, you're going to turn the motor out of the frame, but you got to have it to get by cars, and that makes it hard to drive. Some guys can handle it, some guys can't.
But it's that type of RPMs that's really not that hard. Oh, yeah, it just goes up there for a split second, as we saw in the telemetry a while ago.
It's not about the motor. It's about getting up off of these corners and getting down these little straightaways in a hurry.
To watch Dale Jarrett, let's show you what happened back on caution flag pit stops as Sterling Marlin was exiting his pit. He clipped Drew Blickensderfer, the right side tire changer on Casey Atwood, upends him right there. But he did not leave the pit, and he's okay. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, they're going to take Drew Blickensderfer to the infield care center just to look at him. They think it's a superficial injury, a big abrasion on his right ankle. They changed 2 tires
Steve.
We need to add that Brett Bodine, 11 car, was behind the wall for several laps for repairs. He's back on the racetrack. Has that new sponsor out there, Hooters Restaurants.
For the rest of the season. 107 laps. Well, we've gone the last 35 or so caution free here in Thunder Valley. Jeff Burton leads them at Bristol. We are under caution for the 5th time today. Hermie Sadler has crashed up in turn number 3, and after he spun to a stop, Dale Jarrett did not have room to get through, dented up the nose.
Yeah, I don't think
Ford.
he didn't hurt it much. I thought he might hurt it, but it looks like it's all right as he went by here.
You've knocked the left front fender in. That's probably a lot of the problem.
Oh, he wrecks all the way down that back straightaway.
Got a little bit of help from Bobby Hamilton, 55 car, up the racetrack. And Darrell, I think we'll see here, I think Dale Jarrett anticipated he was going to slide down the racetrack, and he didn't.
Yeah, he got more damage than I thought.
From Sadler's onboard. There he gets turned.
He's working with it. He's trying.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
It's all right in front of our leader.
All right, roll down a little bit and let the 88.
From Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, you got to spin up and
Just couldn't get stopped. I think he anticipated that car, which normally will happen, was going to roll down the racetrack.
But the spotters told him to hold the brake because all the traffic was going low. They'll just happen to be forced up high, I'm sure.
If he'd been off the brake, the banking would have been self-cleaning,
yeah.
He said earlier. But now Hermie Sadler's driving that autism awareness car. His young daughter diagnosed with autism last February. And Hermie working with the Autism Society of America to increase awareness and raise funds to help find a cure. In addition, there's this educational videotape for teachers who work with children with autism and special needs. For more information, call the number on your screen or visit their website.
Well, now, Larry, I want to tell you something. I was just about ready to call you and say, you know, next time don't leave me out here on 30-lap tires.
Yeah, I mean, the only person that was paying off for was Jeff Burton, Frankie Stoddard, and that group in the 99 car. You know, he still was holding on to 2nd place, but this is did what they wanted to see right here, because now you're forced. You have to come in and pit.
Yeah, and the thing about it is if it stays green for a long period of time, those other guys are going to eat my lunch.
Come back
Absolutely.
in or stay out? You're okay. Stay out.
Dale Jarrett with minor damage back on track. 119 laps completed, 5 cautions already. Let's have a look at the NASCAR Busch Series standings, the way they stack up after yesterday's slugfest here at Bristol. Greg Biffle is the point leader. Jeff Green, Kent Wallace, Jack Sprague, and Jason Keller. And the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series points, sponsored by Sears. Ted Musgrave and Robert Presley tied for the lead after 2 races.
They better look out. Let me tell you, here's something that Larry and I were talking about. These guys that pitted the last time are now leading the race. The guys that didn't are now back in the field. But they're all sequenced, Larry, and I like that sometimes.
It can definitely put some different strategy, especially when we get near the end of the race. And I believe we're going back green flag racing here. Pace car is off. Long way to go still.
Oh yeah, we just got the water warm.
5th caution period over. And we begin at lap 124.
Stewart just keeps inching closer to the front.
Boy, Tony Stewart's car is so good. Just past the center, he's able to put that throttle down even on older tires and stay in it. Makes it look like he's got 50 more horsepower down the straightaways.
But you know what? I tell you why. I believe he's pulling a 529 gear. It's a friendly gear to drive because you can map the throttle and it won't try to bust the tires loose.
It won't spin the rear tires. But Tony, got to be patient with those lap cars there. The 23 of Hut Strickland. Long way to go, buddy.
He doesn't want to lose contact with that leader anymore. He wants to keep him in sight.
And he won't. That's the end of the lap car, but for Brett Bodine, who Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Spencer just dispatched. See who's quick here. Gordon, then Marlin, then Wallace. Gordon, your leader. There's Spencer. There's Stewart. Then Wallace, Kenseth, and Johnny Benson.
Yeah, looking out at Johnny Benson's car here. Listening in just a little bit there, but he has made some gains. Started in 28th. Johnny and this group hadn't given us a whole lot to talk about this year. Best finished at 10th at Vegas. This is one of their older cars. In fact, they finished second here in 2000 with this car. I think this type racetrack has always been a Johnny Benson style type racetrack.
Yeah, he runs good on the short tracks. Grew up on the short tracks in ASA.
And he's up to 6 right now.
I tell you, Larry, you know this, and Jeff does too. Some drivers' car can be handling terrible, and you never know.
Oh, turn 2, Rusty got into the side of Hut Strickland, trying to lap him, and nearly paid the price.
Everybody's in line. Clear on.
That's okay.
That'd like to have been big.
He used a Goodyear up on the right front.
Whoa! Sterling Marlin gets in the back of Johnny Benson. 10 car, hard in the outside wall.
That will be a caution.
Under the caution.
It's the 6th one of the day. Comes out at lap 132.
And we see this so much where a car gets that right front into that right rear, and you just run out of room getting in the corner. Everybody's hunting the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, you're moving so fast that, you got to turn in. You can't just stay up there out of the way. You got to turn in, and sometimes you come together with the guy that's trying to get under you.
A lot of damage to Johnny Benson.
Benson goes right behind the pit wall.
Down, and he come right up and hit him.
Here's a look.
This is coming off turn 4 right here down the front stretch.
Sterling's got to run. He's got a nose under there. Just didn't quite have enough room. And that's one of those things that you don't know. The guy on the leading doesn't know if the guy on the inside is going to go on or if he's going to give him a break.
And it's happening so fast. It's such a short distance from off of 4 to down to turn 1.
Here's another look. Sterling doesn't much get under him there.
Stay with it. Stay with it.
Didn't quite have enough room, but I'm sure he might have thought that Benson was going to give him the room. Can't do that, though.
They're all around.
See, right there, I think that's what cost Johnny Benson.
Yeah.
He had to check up. Sterling got the run off turn 4.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Hold the brakes. Hold the brakes.
Guys, you know, sometimes that's where that spotter is so important, because if you see that guy move to the inside of you like that, you can at least tell the driver he's looking. He may not be there, but you tell the driver he's looking, and sometimes that'll make a driver either look in his mirror or go in just a teeny bit higher and kind of feel that guy beside him. Steve?
Hey, Jeff, I was just listening to Sterling Marlin on the radio, and he told Lee McCall and Tony Glover, he said, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to get into him, but he just chopped me off.
Temperature and tempers, perhaps, here at Bristol. Johnny Benson has climbed from his damaged car. Welcome back to Bristol, where we're working the 6th caution flag of the day. Sterling Marlin sending Johnny Benson into the turn 1 wall. Benson out of his car, surveying the damage, and not pleased. The spotters for Benson and Marlin talking it over. Now they're right up on top of the front straightaway. That's a change from last year here, where they were up above turn number 3. New spotter location. Pretty much right in front of the incident there. Dick Berggren.
Well, Rusty Wallace is concerned about the front tire. He just rubbed into another race car. He's asked his spotter to take a look at it. They've also asked other drivers to take a look at it. He just is very concerned. He's also concerned about the 23 of Hut Strickland. They've asked him to get out of the way, or he'll be the next caution flag. Matt?
Dick, earlier in the race, Mike Skinner survived a possible flat tire, but he couldn't survive the lug nut that fell off on his last pit stop. It dropped him from 4th to 21st, but he has quietly and Larry Mack patiently worked his way back up to 11th from 21st. But also one note, keep your eye on the 21 car. He's a tick tight, but quietly move back into the front.
Gordon takes the restart green flag, trying to clear Strickland. He's not going to be able to do it this time.
You know, one thing I always try to tell my spotter and my crew chief is tell me who that is that's up beside of me.
Hut Strickland opened the door for Jimmy Spencer in the 41. He took the lead there. Well, Tony Stewart going to the bottom right here.
Spencer got by, and here comes Tony.
Gordon could not clear the lapped car and paid the price, falling to 3rd.
But I always like to know who that guy is looking on the inside of me, because every driver has a kind of a history, a track record, if you will. And sometimes you want to give some of them a little more room than you do others.
But there on the last 2 restarts, Hut Strickland had nothing for the race leader. Well, this time he did.
Well, he got in front this time.
Defending race champ Elliott Sadler got his fenders pinched a moment ago. In the middle of 3 wide, now with Mike Skinner and Steve Park. Elliott got squeezed a little. Might need just a wisp of tire smoke as he comes off 2.
Daryl, especially 1 and 2, they're starting to move up just a little bit, getting that second groove rubbered in up there.
I'd be looking for that high line if it's me. So that's where you can really make some time once he comes in, if you can get up there first.
Strickland's Dodge scrambling to stay on the lead lap, and right now he seems to be as quick as the leaders. Now, a man who's marched from the back, Robbie Gordon, the outside pole sitter, black flag for jumping the start, and he's climbed up now to 18th place.
Yeah, he just dug himself a hole. It's going to take him all day to get out of. He's going to have to inch his way up there, and somebody's going to turn that 23 car around.
Earnhardt Jr. and Blaney right in the midst of it there with Robbie Gordon and Jeff Burton. Steve Burns.
Mike, we caught with Johnny Benson. Johnny, what happened?
Oh, the 40 car just got in the back of us. He wanted that spot worse than I did, I guess. I mean, he wasn't inside, but this, you know, you don't expect it from him. But in the same token, I'm sure he didn't mean to do it. So, race a deal. Just wish it wouldn't have happened when we're both running top 10.
Johnny, can you get back in the race?
Oh, we'll get back in. I'm not sure how good the car will be, but we need to. We started off really bad and trying to turn the whole program around. Beverly and Pontiac and going pretty good today until that.
He was. He had a solid 6th place run going when he got turned around.
And speaking of getting back in the race, we're at almost lap 150. We've had 6 cautions. 42 cars are out on the racetrack. Boy, Robbie Gordon just got knocked by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. And moved him out of the way. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. But everybody's on the racetrack except Johnny Benson right now.
And Robbie got it again.
Mayfield got a corner of him.
Well, he's trying to get, Robbie's just trying to get back in line. Nobody's letting him. But what happens here, every car will be running at the end of the day. I guarantee you, they'll just be torn all to pieces.
Show you what happened between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Robbie Gordon.
In the race, we're at almost lap 150. We've had 6 cautions. 42 cars are out on the racetrack. Boy, Robbie Gordon just got knocked by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car and moved him out of the way. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. Everybody's on the racetrack except
Nice save by Gordon. He still can't get down to the bottom of the racetrack, though. Now, finally, he finds a place in line.
And you want to know how you pass at Bristol? That was a pretty good example of it.
Yeah, just a little tap. You don't have to knock them hard, just a little tap.
That's it. I like you, tap, but get out of my way.
I'm coming.
Usually think there's some communication between the driver and the spotter. As you heard a little while ago about the 23 car. Go tell that spotter I need by.
Yeah. Like Junior. Now there, Junior was clear of Craven. Craven gave him a lot of room. Lost a spike to Jeff Burton, but he and his car survived to race some more, and Craven will have another chance at him.
And what happened there is Craven's spotter say you're clear behind the 99, or you're clear behind wherever the hole is, so the driver knows to drop in when that car goes by.
At the front, Jimmy Spencer, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon. And they begin to get into lap traffic once again. John Andretti and now Dick Trickle.
Well, we continue to have a battle for 11th right here. These guys, teammates last year. Kevin Harvick in the 29, Mike Skinner in the 4.
Skinner's got a good hot rod. I mean, he's moved up to the field a couple of times. Got mixed up there a while ago with some of that lap traffic.
This for 11th place.
You know, a kid I'm impressed with came in here 5th in points, wrecked right off the bat on Friday. Had to go to a backup car. I talked to his crew chief this morning, Chad Knaus. He said, Jimmy has finally figured out you just can't drive this place like you drive a Busch car, and he's up in the 8th position after starting 33rd.
Well, let me just say this now. All the Henry cars are running good today.
Right.
They're all up. There's 3 of them there in the top 5 or 10.
And I asked Chad, have they run this car this year? He said, no, this was a car used by the 2014 as a backup car for most of the year last year in the front of the truck.
And that includes Terry Labonte, who's also in the top 15. So all 4 Hendrick cars.
All 4 of them are running good today. Good job, guys. Oh, trouble. Gordon is around.
Hard damage in the turn 2 wall.
Damage on the back and a little bit on the
7th caution flag, lap 158. Jeff Gordon slammed into the turn 2 wall.
Come in here, let's look at it, see what we can do with it. Thing just spun right out on me, guys.
You heard him say it.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody around him, or I didn't see anybody get into him.
This track plays no favorites.
Oh, no, and it'll do that to you. This concrete will do it to you. There he is. Well, he kind of took a dive down underneath the 44 car there. Looked like he ran that corner a little bit hard, pinched it down, and it came around.
And sometimes you stick that left front tire down on that apron, it'll make that car loose. It takes the wedge out of the car.
Guarantee you, it unloaded on him, and it went around.
All right, if you're one of those leaders, well, here, let's check with Matt.
Well, Mike, right now, Steve Letarte is beating on that left rear quarter panel as the crew is looking at the deck lid, which is crushed in. Also, the dry brake area. That looks like that might be okay, so refueling the car shouldn't be a problem. Now Letarte is putting the wedge wrench in the back. You can see the guys beating on that quarter panel, trying to surmise the damage here to Jeff Gordon's car. Tough break, though, for Gordon, looking for his 5th career win here in Thunder Valley, as Steve Letarte still looks underneath. Looking to see what else, what other kind of damage they have here on the 24.
There's a reason why Bristol and Bodywork start with the same letter.
You bring a car here, you don't schedule it for a few weeks because you know it's going to have to be rebodied after you leave here. All of our leaders are on pit road. Steve Burns.
Well, there, Sterling Marlin getting service. They're going to go down a round and a half on the track bar in the right rear. They contemplated taking 2 tires, but they'll take 4. To Dick.
Tony Stewart, minor track bar adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace, they're going to tighten up a little bit on his race car and send him off. Stewart has already won this weekend. Last night, his sprint car won. To Matt.
Dick down here in the Jimmy Spencer pit, a 4-tire change. He said the car was a little tight in the center of the corner. He couldn't get it to cut it. Big traffic jam off pit road. Spencer his team made a slight air pressure adjustment.
Wow. Now, this is where the teams that pitted on the backstretch still have a slight disadvantage because they come around to the front stretch, still at pit road speed. They're in line, bumper to bumper. Everybody coming out of the pits is going to swing in and try to gain a spot or 2 there.
And we've been told the 4-car Mike Skinner was too fast exiting pit road. This won't fall under the new rules because it's under caution. He'll have to start at the tail end of the longest line, so he's put himself in another hole again.
That's good, the tail end of the longest line. Why is that?
What happened when Skinner exited the pit, this is pretty interesting here, but if you have a look where Jeff Gordon's pit is and you widen out to see the speed lines where they measure the speed limit on pit road. All right, now right there's one line and there's the other line of the other box. Here's where Skinner comes out of the pit, so he thinks, well, they can't time him from line to line because there isn't enough distance. But what happened? Skinner pulled out and was visibly faster than the cars that were already in the outside lane of pit road. So it was very clear if there was a culprit, he was it.
But Mike, I think what they've done, they've increased where pit road speed actually ends, is that line right there. They've added another segment here. That way you can't get going and get too fast. It all happened after they started having those pit road accidents.
Could have got him either place.
Exactly.
But either way, the verdict is guilty. And here it is.
I have never seen 3x3x3 leaving pit road before.
Here's Skinner scooting out.
I don't see how you can know if he is speeding or not.
There he goes. See right there, he's visibly faster than those other cars, and if you get the watch between those lines.
It was a ball and strike call, and I believe that was a strike.
Jeff Gordon puts the left front down on the flat and puts the left rear into the concrete. They just restarted 1 lap ago. Rusty Wallace won the race off pit road, but he's the 9th place car. Trouble in 1. Hut Strickland slams Joe Nemechek, and off to the wall they go.
Caution is on the Speedway.
Caution's
Dale Earnhardt Jr. stopped and let his teammate Steve Park in the 1 car get his lap back.
Yep.
And that a tough break for this Travis Carter team, which is now down to running 1 car for Joe Nemechek. They've parked the Todd Bodine car, seeking sponsorship to go the season. This won't help.
Very unsure about what they're going to do for Texas in 2 weeks.
Steve Park got a lap back here. As let's show you what happened going off into the corner.
Well, once again, the guy on the inside, he just gets in there and gets into the guy on the outside. It's just classic Bristol. That's why I always ran that little mirror on my left corner right there on my left row bar. I always like to know whose nose was sticking in there.
We've seen this happen so many times today. You go off in that corner, drive to the bottom of the hill there. Not enough room for 2 cars right there at the bottom.
You're going so fast, can't turn, Can't stop.
Nemechek's taking his car behind the wall. We should mention that on the previous caution flag, Ward Burton got back on the lead lap. Here comes Steve Park with like a house of fire to beat the leader, Earnhardt Jr., his teammate, back to the line and get a lap back.
And what you hate about what happened to Joe Nemechek there is he's one of the cars that one of those 8 cars that stayed out to try to get the track position, hopefully stay out of trouble, and he gets in trouble with the lap traffic.
Like we said yesterday, DW, and the hits just keep on coming.
Welcome back to the Food City 500. We're live at Bristol, Tennessee. Remember, NASCAR taking a break next week for the Easter holiday weekend, but we'll be back live from Texas beginning Friday, April 5th with Winston Cup qualifying. That's on Fox Sports Net. Then Saturday, April 6th on FX, Winston Cup practice, followed by Busch Series racing presented by Old Spice, and that's on Fox. Then Sunday, April 7th, start your race day with NASCAR This Morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice on Fox Sports Net, followed by the Samsung Radio Shack 500 on Fox, pre-race show on the NASCAR Victory Lane All Access. Sterling Marlin on Fox Sports Net is the Fox Network's your home for NASCAR. Jeff Hammond, earlier you talked about this being a concrete track and how the temperatures sometimes change things. In fact, it was John Andretti who said, the guy who poured this, I wouldn't let him pour my driveway. But we were talking with Richard Childress beforehand with our 8th caution getting ready to go green. As they do go green, he said that they're going to have to change, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the lead, going to have to change the corners or repave them in the future here.
Yeah, he really thought the corners were more square and need to be rounded where guys could transition. We've seen it several times. Guys kind of cutting that corner, getting their left sides down on the apron. He'd like to see that transition smoother, where the guys can drive a little lower and get in the corners, kind of slide up a little bit, would help them a lot, as well as the exits.
One of the reasons we're on pace for what would be a record 23 cautions. Earnhardt Jr., who started 23rd, your leader. Mark Martin behind him. He started 37th. Let's go back upstairs. Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joel.
Thanks, Chris. Jeff Gordon stays on the lead lap, but that car it's maintaining speed, but it's not going to be a contender, and it's pretty badly damaged.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're going to rebuild this racetrack to make Richard Childress happy when there's 160,000 people back here.
And I'm corrected. We're showing Gordon as one lap down.
One lap.
Right. Matt?
Well, Mike, let's talk to Robbie Lewis. Jeff Gordon's crew chief. Robbie, how bad's the damage? Is the hose kinked?
Scored pretty good in the back end. You know, we're just going to try to ride it out, get a caution here, try to get it.
Jeff Gordon entered Bristol looking for his 5th win here, but more importantly, trying to get some momentum. He hasn't had a top 5 finish since he won Kansas last year.
Longest streak of his career without a top 5.
And that's the side the track bar is on, and so it's, and the trailing arm's probably bent. I can't imagine it didn't run the drive pole up in there and rubbing into the back of the transmission.
And Darrell, the biggest problem he has right now, we talked about it a lot earlier, is just getting out of the way of the leaders.
Yeah.
There's just nowhere to get out of the way.
No, you ride up high there. The only thing he's going to help do is clean off that top groove.
Now there's Kenny Schrader, who did not stop on either of the last 2.
Whoa, look at Tony Stewart down on the apron.
Yo, Tony, hang on, buddy.
He was going to try to sneak up there and take that position away from Rusty Wallace.
More on Rusty, Dick Berggren.
Rusty Wallace won his first Winston Cup race here. He won his 50th Winston Cup race here. And Billy Wilburn told him that he thinks they got a car good enough to win the next Winston Cup race here. They have had consistently good pit stops today. They put a round in fight in that last pit stop. The car is nearly perfect. Steve.
Well, Dick, Kevin Harvick on the last pit stop said he wanted more grip off the corner. They took 4 tires and went down half a pound in the right rear. But team owner Richard Childress is a little concerned on the last caution. Came out. Somebody got into Kevin Harvick. Richard asked Jeff Green, his teammate, to go up and take a look at the car to make sure it's okay. A little concerned that Kevin Harvick can.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader. John Andretti, way in big trouble up between turns 3 and 4. Might have cut down a tire, but he's way off the pace now.
Yeah, he can't get to the bottom of the racetrack to get the pit road. He can't get out of the way. It's just hard. It's like a conveyor belt right now of race cars.
Well, they call this Thunder Valley, but after your car's torn up like that, it becomes the Lonesome Valley. He'll have to do something to that 24 car. He can't. He got to pick it up a little bit.
NASCAR's told him to pick up the pace or get it off the racetrack. Matt?
Well, Well, Mike, you're exactly right. His last lap was 18.55 seconds. In the driver's meeting, NASCAR officials said the minimum speed, the time will be 18.01 seconds. You can see Gordon is definitely not below that, so they're definitely going to have to pick it up.
He's at 9 top 5s the last 14 races here. 12 top 10s in the last 14 races, but this will not be Jeff Gordon's day. Only 300 or so laps to go, DW, and we've only had, what, 8 wrecks so far?
Yeah, it's going to thin out here in a few minutes. They're getting kind of spread out a little bit and get into a long green here, I hope.
Now there's Gordon Speed versus the race leader, Earnhardt Jr.
And Jeff Gordon's barely running at the end of the straightaway what Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running down in the middle of the corner.
NASCAR times the slow cars electronically. They time all the cars electronically. So there's no guesswork as to whether he's maintaining minimum race pace or not.
And how they come up with that is they take a percentage of how fast the cars qualify, and they'll tell them at the driver's meeting, you must maintain this particular lap speed to remain on the racetrack.
Okay, Joe Nemechek, a victim of a crash with Hut Strickland. Here's Steve.
Thanks, Mike. Joe, tell us what happened and can you get back in this race?
I'm not sure what exactly happened. I got to take responsibility for it because I was a faster car. You know, just trying to race lap cars and trying to get around them and trying to get it behind them. The 23 car got into me somewhere. I don't know if I got cut down on him or he got me. But it's a shame. Best car I ever had here. These guys working their hearts out, trying to get a sponsor nailed down. Car was fast. You know, you just got to finish, and we didn't do it.
Behind the wall, Nemechek, Hut Strickland, and Johnny Benson. Work continues on all those cars.
Now, guys, the other problem Jeff Gordon, Robbie Loomis, that group has, if they don't get up to that required speed, they come to pit road or to the garage area to fix the car. NASCAR gives them one chance to get back out there. If you don't maintain the speed then, they tell you to lower the gate on the truck and load it.
Right, none of this in and out of the garage area and keep working on it. Look at this streak, Darrell. No top 5s in the last 13 races.
Yeah, and you can see the problem with the slow cars running high. When they come off the corner, he's in the way.
At one point, Gordon came off the corner and they were 3 wide, and fortunately everybody gave everyone just enough room.
Now the problem with him running low is everybody's running low. So you know, there's really nowhere for a wounded car to go.
We see the 24 crew there just a second ago. That's called the crash cart. It almost has every component that's on that race car on that cart.
Well, I know, Larry, you would probably tell me stay out there as long as you can, and then we're going to bring it in and work on it. Because, you know, maybe you catch another caution or whatever might happen. But stay out there as long as you can, and we're going to bring you in and work on it.
I'm going to keep asking you, everything feel okay? And until I'm going to make you stay out there until you tell me, Larry, I can't drive it no more. And NASCAR says you got to fix it.
It'd be probably the NASCAR side that would get us.
Second to Dale Earnhardt Jr. is Mark Martin, then Ryan Newman. And how about Ward Burton, who had that electrical problem, got a lap down earlier 2 cautions ago. He got that lap back, and he's in 4th place.
That is proof that never give up. And what we're hearing is they had a brake blower. They run blowers on the brakes that cool the brakes. One of those shorted out and caused the battery to have a problem. I mean, here's a guy that was a lap down, almost 2 laps down. They make the repairs, and Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, he's the king of staying out. They elected to stay out. Here they are in 4th position.
Yeah, we got Ryan Newman up in 3rd place, talking about this guy's he's pretty awesome. He's up there in 3rd place, minding his own business, and not too far back there in 5th place, our buddy Kurt Busch. So a couple of our young buddies are up there racing hard.
And a lot of this all has to do with pit stop sequencing. This group right here was in the pits a lot sooner than some of the fellows who were running behind them. And so there are 2 different sequences of pit stops going on here.
And again, the fear I always have, I like getting off sequence, but what if we go green? What if we stay green for a long, long time?
You're going to lose 2-3 laps.
I'm going to lose time having to pit under green.
But what that top 5 wants right now, Earnhardt Jr., Martin, Newman, Burton, and Busch, they want a fairly long green run where if the caution comes out, everybody has to pit and not just those guys.
And even it all up.
Well, it's the game you play in the pits. And that's why you see sometimes you're up front leading, sometimes you're back in the middle of the pack fighting for your life.
Early leader Jimmy Spencer now finds himself in 9th place. Jeff Gordon, who led from the pole, is back in 33rd.
Clock them down, lock them down. All right. Hey, Ryan. How bad is it? It's dragging the nose. Okay, guys, let's pull the nose out and get 4 tires on it. We need those nose pieces, guys.
Clipped him.
Paint right on the corner. Ninth caution of the day, lap 209, coming off turn 4. Tony Stewart just nudged the back of Ryan Newman. Newman caught it, lost it, and then the turn 1 wall caught it.
It's the dreaded wall. You were away. I know. What happened.
Folks, we hate it as much as you do.
Oh, man.
Not as much as Ryan Newman does right now.
No.
He comes in here second in points.
Won't leave here second.
Probably not.
No, he's got the radiator. He's going to have to go behind the wall and do some work. Watch what this starts off at turn 4 down here. Tony's all over He's been beside of him once before. Ryan got way, way down on the flat. Tony gives him a little push. Looked like he's got it saved. Then around she goes. He stays in the gas. That's what all that smoke is. Oof. Probably should have backed out of it because it shot it straight up into the wall.
And then along comes Rick Mast and Jeff Green. They get part of it. Sterling Marlin, remember last week he dodged the big wreck?
Car spinning up on the front, high side up here on the high side. Watch him spinning up there. Stay low. Stay low. Come on. Stay low. Watch that 12. Watch that 12. Go, 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 go.
He dodged another one.
Yeah, he got in the back of the 99, but it didn't hurt anything.
Far right of your screen, Mast and Jeff Green. Trying to take evasive action, become part of the wreck.
Jeff Green's lucky. He didn't. I don't think he hit anything. I think he just spun, and I think Mast may have just spun as well.
Michael Waltrip got a lap back from the leader as they ran to the caution, as did John Andretti. Here's Dick.
Well, the nose of Ryan Newman's car is absolutely flat. The radiator is broken. He left a lot of water on pit road. There's about none in here right now. They've got the crash cart over here. They're going to have to rebuild this car. He had been running in 3rd place before he found the wall. Come out.
Well, Dick, Jeff Gordon has also parked his car behind the pit. Tony Gibson and the boys are unhooking the damaged deck lid. They're going to replace it with a new one, also trying to work on the hoses inside for the fuel system. Remember, Jeff Gordon's crew chief Robbie Loomis told you that they did have some damage back there as well, as Tony Gibson has the Sawzall trying to cut off the rear fascia. Jeff.
One of the things we're seeing here, folks, is the fact that all these bars, when they hit into these cars, if you don't have enough bar in behind here to protect your radiator, it gets shoved back in to the rest of the engine area. Bust the radiator, you've got to come in and fix it if you want to continue to run. Just noticed a little while ago, we saw several guys from the 24 car guys run and come get some more parts as far as the rear deck lid. As you can see, right here's a radiator that they're replacing right now on Ryan Newman's car. And we're going to go back here to the back of the car, and I'm going to show you some of the damaged area that's on the 24 car. One of the things they're trying to do is reestablish the downforce. We keep talking about grip off this corner. When you lose this rear spoiler, it even has an effect here at Bristol. This is the one thing about aerodynamics. You've got to have a little bit of downforce to make the car bite up off the corner. So they've come down to the garage area, took the deck lid off the backup car, and when they come in to make repairs, they'll change that deck lid out to try to help Jeff Gordon continue this race. And the way things are going, he still may have a decent day. What do you think, Steve?
Well, Jeff, Dale Earnhardt Jr. came down pit road. He said, the car's pretty good, but I'm a little bit tight. Their adjustment, they took a strip of tape. You can see it's numbered 1. Danny Earnhardt just pulled it off the grill, and that was their adjustment here on pit road.
Well, one of the problems they're going to have too, Jeff, that damage is all on the left rear there. And while you're at the deck lid back there, maybe you could show the folks at home the filler neck and all that they're trying to replace so they can put fuel in that car as well.
Okay, Darrell. Right now, you can see this is the filler neck when it's in the car like it's supposed to. Nice straight shot down into the fuel cell. This right here is the overflow vent that lets everybody know that the car is full of fuel. What they've done, they've damaged all this. They've ripped this here loose. I'll show you if this doesn't come loose. You can see it dangling here. This is the catch deal. What they've got to try to do is try to straighten this back out, reestablish it so they can also get the car back full of fuel, but they've got to get this tied down so it's not flopping around, spilling fuel on the racetrack and creating a safety issue. They've got a lot of work to do if they want to get this car back in the race safely.
But they did wait till the caution came out. They rode around there, they got a caution, now they're going to work on it.
Bristol Motor Speedway, the used sheet metal supermarket of NASCAR. 216 laps complete, hardly any of them without incident. Nine caution flags for 54 laps. Jeff Gordon's crew, led by Robbie Loomis, working on that car now behind the wall.
But this is how you win championships. Come in, work on the car, repair it, go back out there, fix it right now. You're in here working on it. Don't patch it up. Fix it right. We're going green. Tony Stewart lead.
Now the cars up front did not pit under this caution.
There was actually 10 cars. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Spencer, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Sterling Marlin, Elliott Sadler, Jerry Nadeau, Casey Atwood, Dave Blaney, and Steve Park, who got his lap back several laps ago. Top 10 cars elected to stay out. Different agendas on this pit strategy.
Race is already at more twists and turns than a Tom Clancy novel. And it is Stewart right now who's out in front of Spencer. Remember, they were both involved in the big one at Darlington 1 week ago.
And not too far behind them is that 48 car. Jimmy Johnson just kind of lurking along behind them. You got Matt Kenseth and the point leader who is easing his way into the picture as we go. Car 40, Sterling Marlin.
And right behind Marlin, last year's winner, Elliott Sadler.
Quietly working his way up there. That's what he did last year. We didn't talk about him much last year, and all of a sudden, there he was. They have really done a good job with Elliott's car, he and Pat Tyson, of tying that car down and making it drive good for him. He told us the other night on the show, they're now fixing the car the way Elliott Sadler likes it, and that's really paying off. He almost spun out then.
Car was very strong last week at Darlington. He finished second.
Yeah, and he finished second at Daytona. I mean, this team has really come around this year. And he attributes all that to a test they did in Lakeland, Florida. They went down there and spent a couple of days, took Mark Martin with them, learned a lot.
Clear behind him. Clear behind.
Jerry Nadeau goes past to pick up the 6th position.
But I want to look at this 7 car right behind Elliott Sadler. Casey Atwood. He's sitting there running in 8th position. Started in 19th, but he's been fast here all weekend long. They said they just didn't get it going for 2 laps on qualifying. I asked Buddy Ragdog Barnes the history of this car. He said this is the car that Ray Evernham sent to Jimmy Smith's shop and said, here's your first Dodge, guys. Build the rest of them like this race car. A template car, you might call it.
Oh, we'll give Casey attaboy.
Hey, you better believe it. It's good to see this group having a good run here today. This group, Casey Atwood needs this kind of a run.
Yes, sir. He was just coming into his own, I thought, last year in that 19 car at the end of the year. And then he had to go through this transition. But he's a young kid. He'll overcome all that.
All right, Jeff Gordon returns to the racetrack. He's 18 laps back in 36th position. But cars that are more laps down than him are John Andretti, Hut Strickland, Brett Bodine, and Stacy Compton and Buckshot Jones. Only 2 cars make that 3 in the garage right now. Ryan Newman, Joe Nemechek, Johnny Benson.
But if Gordon and that group had tried to do these repairs under green, they'd have probably lost 50 laps. 16 seconds a lap.
Yeah, and he's really struggling with the car. I mean, he's having a hard time hanging on to her.
Now moving up, we just saw Jerry Nadeau pass Elliott Sadler. That was for 6th place. For more on Nadeau's day, here's Matt.
Oh, Mike, it hasn't been the best of days for the Hendrick Motorsports team. Jerry Nadeau climbed up into the top 7, and then on his pit stop, Matt Kenseth came in around the 25. He's pitted right in front of Nadeau. He was at a bad angle, so to get out, he had to back up, and he backed up right into the front of the 25 car. Nadeau left, had to come back in to repair some damage to the left front. He lost a lot of track position, dropped all the way back to 29, and now he has soldiered back up to the front. And really, DW, it should not be a surprise with this race car. Last year at Dover, he started at the back of the field and climbed all the way up to finish second to Steve.
Well, man, his teammate Jimmy Johnson's having a good day. They came in here with 3 straight top 6 finishes. They last pitted on lap 218, or excuse me, last 158. He's complained the car's just a little bit tight. Jimmy Johnson running in the 3rd position.
Some cars pitted, some didn't. Let's take you back in the field and pick up a couple who didn't. Here's Rusty Wallace, who is in 16th place, right behind Kurt Busch. Just back of him, Ricky Rudd, and the man who was leading when we got yellow flag fever again, Jeff Burton. Now, Darrell, if you're stuck back there 16th through 20th spot on the lead lap, I mean, this got to be a tough race to run right here.
Well, you got two problems. One, you need to go forward, and you got to keep looking behind you, because you do not want to get hung up there in traffic with lap cars and cars that are not as fast as you are, and the leader runs you down. And Tony Stewart's leading this race, and he is not cutting anybody any slack right now.
Stewart 9/10 of a second up on Jimmy Spencer. Rookie Jimmy Johnson third. Sterling Marlin and Jerry Nadeau as we're 15 laps from halfway in Bristol. Who would have thought 20 years ago you could come to a half-mile racetrack and see a crowd bigger than at any football or baseball game? Here we are, Bristol Motor Speedway. Wow. Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 4th place. A little bump and run.
But you know, the guy that blew by him there a few minutes ago was a 25 car. He just drove by that crowd, and he is long gone. He's got a fast hot rod.
There's Jerry Nadeau, the Danbury, Connecticut driver.
He was our fastest car in happy hour too, you know. So right. He's dialed in.
And not only was he fastest in happy hour, we looked at his long run. He was fast 30 laps into a run.
Let's see who's quick here at the line. Tony Stewart, your leader. Jimmy Spencer. Nadeau a little quicker than Spencer. And Mark Martin. And Bobby Labonte. And Ricky Rudd, second fastest right there.
Well, there's guys that we haven't talked about all day that'll be in the picture about halfway on. Some guys just kind of ride around for about half this race. Stay out of trouble, then try to get going when the traffic thins out a little bit.
Well, we're at halfway next time by. Our Coors halfway recap of the race thus far. Robbie Gordon jumped the start, got himself a black flag. So Jeff Gordon led from the start and led 82 with the first 138 laps. Jimmy Spencer, who led 206 laps here in 1992 driving for Cale Yarborough, then picked up the lead. Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton have each had a turn at the front, but we've been plagued with 9 cautions in the first half of this race.
When I had a car here that I was happy with and I liked the way it was running and driving and everything, I never worried about where I wanted to stay on the lead lap till halfway. And then things that you see, we're into a long run now, and this is when you want your car to be good.
Here's where Tony Stewart's going to have to really pick himself through lap traffic as he comes up on Bobby Hamilton.
Yeah, because these are good cars. I mean, Hamilton's running good. There's Bill Elliott right in front of him. Jeff Green. Outside pole sitter Robbie Gordon.
Now they told the lap cars to stay up high. Now they've got to work past the wounded car of John Andretti before Stewart will have a chance. He's got quite a bit of breathing room now, though, on Jimmy Spencer.
And Darrell, this is actually, we just crossed the halfway point. This is the longest run these guys have had to see what their car really is. We're looking at Jimmy Johnson right now in the 48th. He's fallen back to 7th position. He's got almost 100 laps on his tires. He was last on pit road at 160. This is when the good handling race cars start to show up.
And this is when you better have the right pit strategy. They haven't had this many green laps in succession since happy hour.
Look at that car behind him. I don't think we've seen him all day long. Bobby Labonte, he started 32nd. He's moved up to 10th. 300th Winston Cup start today. He's never had a top 5 finish at this racetrack. He's never won a short track race, which is a track less than a mile.
You want to know why? Because he's such a courteous driver. He drives so cautiously that he gets himself in trouble by not going on sometime, I believe. And this is no criticism to Bobby. He's a great driver, but you've got to keep forcing the issue.
You can be too courteous here.
He's a little too courteous sometimes.
Rookie Jimmy Johnson. There's his speed since the last restart.
There you're seeing 14 laps from lap 226 right there to 240. He's lost almost 4 miles per hour.
And now's when I was going to tell you that I was hollering at you about don't leave me out here on them old tires no more.
And this is when this race sometimes traditionally will have those long green runs. We're in the halfway point. Everybody's figured out, you know, I need to settle down here just a little bit.
All these races where there's a lot of cautions, they have a history. If you go back and track cautions, you can almost predict how many there's going to be, when they're going to be to a certain degree, and then if there is going to be a long green run like we got here. I'm telling you, if you look at it year after year, you can see a pattern.
Let's go back to about 19th place. There's leader Tony Stewart, where Dale Jarrett, Ricky Craven, and Terry Labonte are racing. They're all on the lead lap from 19th on back. Mike Skinner, part of that battle. Then Dave Blaney, Kyle Petty, and Steve Park.
And the problem with this group right here, Tony Stewart is only about 4.5 seconds behind them. So it's another one of those deals. Patient, but you have to go. You know that leader's coming.
Oh, yeah. I hate that.
Look for the leader. There you saw Mike Skinner, and there is Stewart, Dick Berggren.
Tony Stewart has over 100 laps on the tires that are on that car, and just a moment ago he keyed the radio and he told his crew the tires feel like they are brand new. The strategy from here is the same strategy they started the race with. Before the green flag, crew chief Greg Zipadelli told them, take your time, be patient. At lap 116, he told them, patience won you the race in the fall. It can win you the race now. Stewart leads at Bristol.
Last year, Elliott Sadler did not take tires on his last pit stop, and that made the difference. He won the race on tires that had a lot of laps on them. How will it play out today? Stay tuned.
Hey, 34,000 horsepower. How about let's crank it up?
How about that?
Hung up in traffic. Tell you nothing that's hurting if they don't get a caution. He's getting passed by a lot of cars.
Mark Martin backing up. A couple of drivers seem to have lost the handle as we're in this long run here.
Yeah, there's just several guys that they need a caution because they're, you know, that off sequence thing that we've talked about a couple of times is going to end up biting them.
Need one, don't want to be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting up there close to 120 laps on some of these guys' tires right now, and they're really starting to slip sliding around.
And really and truly, for Tony Stewart, he'd probably like to see a caution fall periodically as well, you know, with the injuries he has. But I got to tell you, there were times when I was injured that I drove some of my best races because I did extra things, took extra precautions to be sure that I could make it.
We need to document that Johnny Benson is back on the racetrack after being in the garage for 112 laps, as well as Ryan Newman, 64 laps down. So the only cars that are in the garage right now of the 43 that started, Joe Nemechek and Dick Trickle.
A look from Benson. They put a new deck lid on the back of his car and no sheet metal to surround it. Whoa, there's Newman.
We got trouble.
And
Newman,
Dale Jarrett. Turn 4. And Robbie Gordon again gets the luck of the caution. He and Steve Park, Buckshot Jones, and Jeff Green.
I believe Green just barely made it.
Yep, they'll just get back to the caution ahead of Tony Stewart, the leader. 10th yellow flag of the day, lap 282, turn 4. Newman and Jarrett.
See what happened here.
Going down the backstretch right here. Jeff Burton in the 99 just drove her in there and got into the left rear of Ryan Newman. Dale Jarrett just trying to avoid it, spins the car but gets into Newman.
It's probably mostly cosmetic on the 88 car.
Well, that is the second great piece of luck for Robbie Gordon. A caution keeps him going a lap down as we see this again. And the second piece of bad luck for Dale Jarrett, the second wreck that he could not miss.
Happened right around him. He just slid through it.
Now, we talked about being off sequence. Everybody on the lead lap will be on pit road now. This should put everybody on equal turf.
Looks like they're saying the 30 car did not get his lap back.
That dreaded sound of those tires squealing.
Steve in the back pits.
Mike Dale Earnhardt Jr. says the car feels pretty good. They debated making some stops just as he was coming down pit road. They debated a track bar adjustment, but instead they're just going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. 4 tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Done. Dick Berggren.
Well, Tony Stewart came on the radio. They're going to take 4 tires, clean the windshield, and for the first time, he said, I'm feeling sore. Tony Zipadelli, crew chief, said we're going to give you a cool drink of water. That'll solve the problem. Stewart has had a terrific race car all day. To Matt.
And Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer's in a 4-tire change. He says the car is very neutral. As a 25 car's in also. 25 is tight. Spencer says his car is neutral on entry, but he can't get it to roll through the center like he wants. Good grip off. 25 is away. The 41's away. No adjustments for Spencer. The 19's blocked in.
Earnhardt Jr. wins the race off pit road ahead of Stewart, Spencer, Bobby Labonte, and Kurt Busch.
Now this is the back pits right here. This is where Earnhardt Jr.'s pitting. It's the last pit at the end of the backstretch pit, so he can leave there. And even though he has to maintain 30 miles an hour, I don't know that he can get to that speed till he's almost to the front stretch pit. I see that little smirk on his face.
Hard to read the tack when you're going around the corner.
That's right. Hard to time a car through the corner.
But he wins the battle off pit road here.
Here's a look at it.
See if we can see how this happened.
Get a little fresh air out the window.
Getting him a little air. I got you.
Hi, Tony.
I got you, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm having a good day. How about you?
215 laps to go at Bristol. We are working the 10th caution flag of the day. Welcome back to Bristol. The record for caution flags, in case you were wondering, is 20. It happened twice. And this race ran without a caution flag in 1971.
I believe Charlie Glotzback won that race.
I think didn't Kale win a race here, no caution? Or no, Kale led all the laps. That's what it was.
And Charlie Glotzback won the race.
Yeah, that's right.
1 to go for the restart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. first off of pit road, then Tony Stewart. Look what happened to Matt Kenseth. Came in 6th, got blocked in, came out 20th. And Casey Atwood came in 10th, went out 22nd.
See if we can see what happened here.
All right, there's Kenseth.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Skinner, the car had to back up.
He was in like that. Skinner was in like that, and he couldn't get out.
And they've made these pits bigger, but they've made them wider from side to side. They've not been made them longer. We're green flag.
Everybody on fresh tires. 211 laps to go.
Now, if you're here's a problem I see. If you're a lap car, you start on the inside on the restart. How are you going to get up on the outside to get out of the way?
Going to be in the way, trying to get out of the way.
Well, that's exactly what's happening to Jeff. He can't get out of the way because he had to restart down on the bottom. Only thing he can do is go down on the apron.
And that was the smart thing to do there. Only way to get out of the way.
And they did. They worked on his car and it made it a lot better. He's able to maintain some pretty good lap speeds, but not with these guys on fresh tires.
Riding with Rusty, just behind there, Jerry Nadeau, 7th and 8th place. Rusty riding 7th. Ford no boundaries moment. He leads all active drivers with 24 short track wins, 9 of them here and 7 poles here. Leads all active drivers on the short track. Stick Berggren.
And he has always been good here at Bristol Lake, all the way back into his ASA days. He set a world stock car record at this racetrack. But right now, today, at the moment, the concern in Rusty Wallace pit is potential overheating. They have ripped all the tape off the grill. The radiator got as high as 230. They're hopeful it doesn't get any higher than that.
And that's a product of just beating and banging. You beat that grill opening closed, and you just can't get enough air into the radiator when you're running bumper to bumper like we do here.
And we've seen earlier where they was taking tape off the front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s cars. What we have to remember, these guys, they never practiced in ambient temperatures like we have today. Plus, as hot as it is, will make these cars run a lot warmer anyhow.
I was thinking about the fans. How would you like to talk to your buddies and say, yeah, be sure and bring a jacket? And you got here today, and I thought you said you needed a jacket. That's East Tennessee up in the mountains for you.
Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, and Spencer, 3 cars that have been at the front all day. But here's Bobby Labonte in 4th and Kurt Busch in 5th. New names toward the front.
I was just watching Kurt Busch, and I think this all has been stimulated from Jimmy Finney making some gutsy calls in the early part of the race. They started in 27th, pitting on the backstretch, kept him out there, got that track position. They got exactly what they needed a while ago, that long green run, to get that track position and on equal ground with everybody. And Darryl, we had him on a show the other night on the Speed Channel Friday night, and he says, I've just not figured this place out yet.
Haven't put all the transitions out yet.
Angles.
Labonte also is pitted on the back straightaway in this, his 300th Winston Cup start.
And Jeff and I were talking about that in a pre-race show there about think, and he said 3 times, he's right. Think driver, think crew, think everybody.
Rusty Wallace 6th, Jerry Nadeau 7th. They continue to run nose to tail. Matt?
Mike, on his last pit stop, Jerry Nadeau came in 2nd, but went out 9th. The problem, Tony Ham had trouble with a lug on the right rear, and that slowed down the stop, a 17.44 second stop. No changes, though, for Nadeau. To Steve.
Well, Matt, Sterling Marlin was loose early in this race. And the last stop, he was complaining of being tight, so they put on 4 tires, and they went up around on the track bar. Sterling Marlin has never won in 34 starts here in Bristol.
Thanks, Steve. Kind of surprising, Darryl, with his style, that he doesn't have a short track Winston Cup victory.
Yeah, you would think so, particularly he and Glover, Tony Glover working together. I mean, they've had a lot of opportunities. His short track experience from Nashville, won a lot of races there in late model cars.
He did win a Busch race here 2 years ago, March of 2000.
Marlin in 9th place, the Winston Cup point leader. Coming in here over 99 points ahead of Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth, Rusty Wallace, and Jimmy Johnson, 2 rookies in the top 5 in the points.
And we look at his telemetry, he's just turning about 8,500 on the straightaways, down to about 6,400 in the corners. Right here, 8,500 into the front stretch. It's about the same, which this racetrack is fairly symmetrical.
Yeah, the thing about it is that tells me that he's got a fairly high gear in the car. That is a friendly, it makes the car easier to drive.
Put that throttle down.
Yeah, it doesn't try to spin the tires so easily.
Tony Stewart, a tense moment, trying to lap past Ryan Newman, got under Newman.
Man.
Had to get out of it as he slipped up the racetrack.
I mean, Newman got cut down in front of Dale Jarrett earlier and got this thing going like that.
That will allow Dale Jr. to get away.
How many of us predicted that Dale Jr. would be out here leading this race the way he is?
Boy, Kurt Busch in the 97 drove right underneath Bobby Labonte, that 18 car going into turn 3. He's got a fast race car right
Well,
now.
you know why? Because Bobby saw that 12 car up there in the way. He's trying to get him a little cushion.
Oh, Marlin got loose, almost lost it. He may have cut a tire in 1 and 2.
I believe he did, because something was happening to that car, it looked like.
One more.
He's got to go all the way around the racetrack. He's going to get on the apron.
He's got a tire down. That happens. Sometimes you get into somebody, you cut a tire down the right rear.
Steve?
Yeah, just to confirm what DW said, we heard him say it's the right rear tire. They're going to have to bring him up pit road.
We saw some sheet metal damage there around that right rear tire.
Boy, sometimes you can just bang into people in the wall and nothing ever happens. Then somebody just rubs up against you and cut a tire down.
He's going to go 2 laps down. Leaders at the start-finish line. Sterling Marlin's just at the exit of pit road. One more time, we're under green, so you don't have to do that whole lap of pit road. You can come in on the front stretch, go out on the front stretch, still maintaining 30 miles an hour.
Got a tire down. Side. One more. Clear low. Coming to you guys. Right to left. Clear. Right side, guys. Right side tires. 2 tires. Right side. 2 tires. 2 tires. 2. Turtle, what's your seat on that?
Well, will this end Sterling's string of 8 straight top 10 finishes? And will it change the point lead? Lot left to play out here in Bristol over the next 187 laps. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, presented by UPS. .324 laps complete. Where you start has little indication of where you finish here in Bristol. Look at last year's race. Elliott, Sadler, the winner, started 38. Nobody who finished in the top 5 started in the top 10. So let's move forward to right here at 324 laps in this race. and only one driver in the top 5, Jimmy Spencer, started this race in the top 10.
And a lot of it just came from pit strategy, especially with Earnhardt Jr., with Kurt Busch and Bobby Labonte. You know, getting off sequence, getting that long ring run we talked about, Darrell, and got that track position. That caution came out several laps ago.
Yeah, right along now is when you're really glad that you're doing that workout program, that you're in the gym and you're in good shape, because now is when you start knowing what kind of shape you're in.
Jeff Green in the 30 car has a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd been involved in an earlier accident and now going to come to pit road. No caution. First time that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led here. It's his 5th Bristol start. His best finish was 14th here last August. And he leads this race by 1.8 seconds over Tony Stewart.
You know, we talk about those top 5. 3 of those cars are pitting on the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte. Tip your hat to NASCAR for making the gamble and seeing if they could make this racetrack think it had one pit road. Trick it.
Ward Burton off the pace for the 2nd time today. He had been up as high as 4th.
But we've been a long way since they changed that battery. Just remember, the brake bore was shorted out. Possibly if it killed the alternator and he was running off the juice of a fresh battery, he's already used that battery up and they'd have to change the battery again.
Tough day for the Daytona 500 winner. 5 races this season, 3 of them won by Dodge. That is quite a turnaround for Dodge in their 2nd year of their return to Winston Cup racing.
Well, then, yeah, they're in their 2nd year of their program. They've gotten the engines are better, the cars are better, the teams are, you know, working better together. They got a pretty strong program going right now.
We was talking about Ward Burton a minute ago. Boy, Jimmy Spencer, Kurt Busch just got bottled up behind him over there in turn 2. It like to have been big.
Yeah, he's just really, really slowing. Spencer had closed up on the back of Tony Stewart, but it's almost like Tony looked back and said, okay, I better get going again. I'd say that Tony right now is just kind of, if he's in any pain, if he's having a problem, we're going to know it very shortly.
Kevin Harvick spun into the wall in yesterday's Busch race by Greg Biffle. And quite a shouting match. Not really a shoving and no punches thrown match after the race ensued between the 2 of them.
Yeah, he started 22nd. He's up to 7th position. This is the same car that he was leading with a handful of laps a year ago when he had a flat tire on the green, ran 2nd in August. This is also the car that Dale Earnhardt won the Spring Atlanta of 2000 race with. Good race car.
Dick Berggren.
I talked to Todd Bodine around lap 100 and asked if he was going to have to work today and take over for Tony Stewart in that number 20. He said not with a car that's that good, he'll last all day. But Stewart called in just a few laps ago and said he's feeling sore. Bodine rushed to the truck, put on his driving suit, and right now they're fitting him with his harness and helmet. He may have to go in and finish the day for Tony Stewart.
Darrell, Tony has a lower back injury from the crash at Darlington. He was lapping Buckshot Jones, got spun into the wall, but what really hurt him was Jimmy Spencer rushed headlong into the right front, and Stewart's got a lot of pain in his lower back. And how will that especially affect him at this track?
Well, even when you don't have a lower back injury, that's just something that bothers you in a long race like this. You're pounding down in that seat. It's hard on your kidneys. It's hard on your lower back. So if he's already started with that irritated, that's going to hurt him. And like I said, this is a long enough green period now where if you're going to have a problem, you're going to know it now.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. now 0.7 of a second ahead of Tony Stewart. We're under caution. Last year's winner will not repeat. Elliott Sadler has been crashed. Pit stops under caution. Earnhardt Jr. on the back, and Stewart leads him in on the front. Dick?
Well, just a moment ago, crew chief Greg Zimbinelli came on the radio and asked Tony Stewart if he could make it all the way. He said there's 150 laps. There was silence from the driver's compartment. Stewart still in the race car. Come on.
4-tire change for Jimmy Spencer. No adjustments.
Earnhardt Jr. again wins the race off pit road, followed by Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield, and Jeff Burton.
And we've got oil all the way around this speedway now.
It happened in the backstretch. Somebody got in the back of Elliott Sadler. I believe it was Kyle Petty.
A lot of times that left front corner, that's where you run your oil cooler. And he broke the oil cooler, broke the line off the oil cooler, and he strung oil all the way around the racetrack.
See, he was trying to get his lap back right there in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Of course, tires flat, oil's leaking out. He slams the inside wall here. Just about gets it.
Now Steve Park reacting. There's all the smoke ahead, and he gets into the back of Robbie Gordon. And around Gordon goes.
There's hardly any single car accidents.
Speed in front of you, Robbie. Speed in front of you. Check out. Stay high. Stay high. Watch your back. Come on. Come on. One car behind.
Darrell, that's what you said at the top of your day. You got to drive behind you as well as in front of you. On board Sadler.
Hold on to it. Hold on to it. All right. Go hard and get it straight. Go hard. Go hard, man. Leader's still behind you. You can fire it up. Side of you now's the leader. Go hard. Go hard.
Trying to stay on the lead lap. Just wouldn't steer. Caution out for the 11th time this afternoon at Bristol. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, presented by UPS. .150 laps to go. This is the 11th caution flag of the day. 20 is the record. Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitted, and he said, boys, I really like the way this car is handling. All they did was change tires, no chassis adjustments, no air pressure adjustments, and he said, I've been running this car hard. Jeff Hammond.
Steve, one of the things that some of the guys were concerned about, and I talked to him this morning about this new pit road rule, is that the pit that Dale Earnhardt happens to be in, which is pit number 23 on the backstretch, may actually be the best pit now. In years past, being in pit number 1 was always the best at Bristol. But because of the new rules, that was one of the major concerns. On the other side of the deal, a lot of the guys who wanted to pick that pit were not allowed to by NASCAR. If you qualified in the top 22, you had to pick on the front stretch. So it's very interesting how things are kind of playing out here today.
Jeff, you know, I remember when we had to pick a pit on the back straightaway, we liked that pit because it's like being in the first one on this side, and there was nobody in your way, and you could just shoot out of the pit, come around that corner, and be hauling the mail. Yeah, and you know, you got to give NASCAR credit for trying to make things better. It's not a disadvantage right now to be on the back stretch, but it makes you wonder if all of a sudden the advantage of having a front stretch pit and being in pit number 1 is what it used to be.
So working under caution as they put Speedy dry down on the track, blew the track, and continuing to clean up from Elliott Sadler's car, which brought out the 11th caution. You look at Tony Stewart in 3rd place. This caution will allow him a bit of a rest, but Dick Berggren, give us an update.
I'm going to let crew chief Greg Zipadelli do that. Can Tony make it all the way, Greg?
I don't know. His back's really bothering him right now, but this kid's done a great job. Home Depot Pontiac's been running good. Guys in the pits have done a great job keeping us up front, and you know, my hat's off to them. We'll keep our fingers crossed and say our prayers. This kid's tough. To get him this far here with 150 to go is as bad as he's hurting. We're proud of him. We'll just keep working him, keep talking to him, trying to keep coaching him, and keep it off his mind.
They've told him drink as much fluid as he possibly can. He's got a device that helps his back a little bit. They've told him turn it up as high as he can stand it. Will he make it? I'm telling you what, I've been listening to him. He is in serious pain. Tony Stewart in trouble.
I tell you, one of the real losers on this last round of pit stop, Jerry Nadeau. He went from 6th to 14th, but we want to look at it here. What this is the time was spent on pit road. Tony Stewart, 29.7. Jerry Nadeau, 37.1. But the difference was in that pit stop right there, 20.9 to Tony Stewart's 14.3. That's over 5 seconds. Matt Yoakum, they had to have had a problem.
Well, Larry Mack, the problem they had actually when the stop was completed, Jerry dropped the clutch and thought he was going to pull forward. Actually, he started to back up. He grabbed the wrong gear. He grabbed reverse instead of first. DW, that ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah, it's easy to do. You're sitting there and you're kind of juking the thing around. It's in neutral, and you slam it up in gear, and you got it in reverse, and you don't know it. rather embarrassed.
Jeremy Mayfield was the big gainer. He went from 14th to 6th on that round of pit stops. We're under caution. We'll be right back.
Welcome back live to Bristol, Tennessee. Let's take a look at Stacy Compton, one of the early casualties here on this tough track. Johnny Benson, this was the 6th caution with a little bump from Sterling Marlin. Jeff Gordon led for a while, but spun out on lap 158. And then Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart with a little tap. Newman coming in 2nd in points. His first time racing here in Bristol as a Winston Cup driver. And then again, after Jeff Burton tapped him, spinning out. And then moments ago, Elliott Sadler, who won this race last year, suffering a break in the oil line and currently out of the race, and hoping to bring him back as he is working on his car. His crew is in the pits. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get Chevy its first victory of the year. You're watching NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by UPS. A lot more to go, so stick around. We're live in Bristol, Tennessee.
Back under green at lap 360. Sterling Marlin had restarted on the tail end of the lead lap because he did not pit under the caution. Remember, he cut a tire and got 2 tires under green, but with only 2 fresh tires, he could not hold off Dale Earnhardt Jr. And now our point leader Marlin has gone 1 lap down.
Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he has a cushion of 3 cars. It's a lap down in between him and Kurt Busch.
All right. Middle 1 and 2.
Just follow up a little bit more on Tony Stewart. I'm sure he has a 10s unit in there to
Whoa, Tony Stewart spins off turn 2.
He's around.
Keeps it off the wall.
No.
Wow. Everybody gets by him. Caution is out for the 12th time.
He was headed back up that racetrack with 2/3 of field coming at him.
I was just going to say he had a 10s unit in there to kind of exercise those back muscles. May have turned it up too much. Sterling didn't get his lap back, did he?
Neither did Robbie Gordon or Bill Elliott. They took the caution flag before they got by him. Pace car picks him up here in turn 4.
Also in the seat, we got what we call a lumbar support. It's a little airbag that we can pump up and down, even for I think Bodine looks like he might be getting ready to hop in this thing.
Todd Bodine has a foot up on the pit wall. If Tony Stewart comes onto pit road, if he comes onto pit road for relief.
See, the last time would have been a better time to do it because he was at the front of the field. Now he's at the back of the field. He's barely going to get down pit road before he even gets out of the car and the pace car will go back.
And it takes 53 seconds for the pace car to make a complete lap here under caution. But like you say, Darrell, he's given up half the racetrack just because of where he's at.
Yeah,
Stewart's in. No one else pits.
It's going to be a tough deal because he's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Tony to jump. He can't jump out of the car. And I don't even know if Todd's been in this car, has he?
But what he has to do, Darrell, he has to be unbuckled, window net down, everything but the steering wheel off when he gets to those pits. Help those guys all he can. And what will help here, there's not a right side window in the right side, so someone can go in that right side to help get Todd Bodine buckled in.
Still going to be pretty hard to pull that
off. There
off.
goes the window net down. And Stewart's in. Off goes the steering wheel. And look, they're not even going to let Todd climb in. They're going to shovel him in.
That's the best way to do it because you can stick him through the window that way.
Yep.
You got to help Tony out.
It'd be much easier to sit him down in there and him try to climb in there.
Exactly.
Now, what I noticed about Todd Bodine, he's using the Hutchins device, a head neck restraint, a lot like you see on the back of Tony Stewart here. Normally, Todd Bodine runs the Hans device much quicker to get that Hutchins device hooked in than the Hans device. And both of them are good devices.
That gives you an idea of how sore Tony Stewart must be. It's been a long time since we've seen him climb out of a race car.
Boy, it's going to be close. He's going to make it. Look at that. They did it.
They're going to stay on the lead lap. That's what happened to Stewart. And everybody just gets by him. Tony Stewart out of the car. Todd Bodine in relief. And they stay on the lead lap. They've got to fix that window net. We'll be back. in 1 lap will be racing. This morning, Tony Stewart's team prepared for this possibility, fitting Todd Bodine for the car and getting him in there to see how the seat and the belts and everything that were adjusted for Tony Stewart would fit Todd if he had to climb in there quickly.
Yeah, that's a question I had. You know, when did he get in the car? I knew he had to have been in the car at some point in time, but I didn't know if they made that decision this morning or not, Jeff.
Yeah, this morning I happened to be down there when they brought him over, and the thing about it, Greg Zipadelli said, hey, we're adapting and improvising in case we have to have this happen, because Tony was tightening up after practice sessions, and they felt like during long cautions, this may be a problem.
Now they'll miss this green flag. No, they're going to
they waved it off. They waved it off.
Waved off the restart as Bodine brings the car down pit road.
You can see there everybody was doubled up ready to go, but for some reason they waved it off.
And you know, Todd Bodine has always been one of the innovators and promoters of safety, so there's something in that race car, whether it's the belts or something he don't feel good about, that he's coming back to pit road.
I don't know if he missed his pit or maybe, you know, maybe did he speed down pit road? What's going on here?
Got a drive-through penalty for speed.
Drive-through, I think that's what happened.
Yep.
That was a question I had. He hadn't been in the car, no pit stop. I know it's probably on the dashboard what the tax is for a 30-mile-an-hour RPM, but buddy, unless you practice it, it's a long way around here to the first time.
We're still going to be one to go this time.
Jeff?
Well, the one thing, guys, I want to point out, they knew they had to work with the driver, get him in and out, and do some more things with the car. So speeding down pit road may have been a good call on Greg Zipadelli's part to give him more time to work with the driver, to work on the car and get him comfortable, because you knew you're going to be at the back end of the lead lap cars. I mean, he's 20th, but he still has an opportunity right now to move up and keep these guys up in the point hunt on behalf of Tony Stewart. I mean, I don't think it's a bad call.
Oh, no, it's a good call, Jeff.
Steve?
Mike, Elliott, Sadler, defending race winner, sitting in the car. Elliott, what happened to put you back here?
Just normal Bristol stuff. Kind of got run into from the back, but it wasn't his fault. I was getting pretty loose. We had a good race car, and I drugged the left front sway bar arm off. Man, that ain't no fun here at Bristol. So tough break with everybody from Motorcraft Quality Parts and U.S. Air Force. We really wanted to come back and run good, but just a tough day at the office.
Yeah, they're still working hard on this car, but there's a lot of damage to the 21 of Elliott Sadler.
Defending champion behind the wall. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads them down to the green flag. Kurt Busch, the new second-place car. Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield, the front 5.
And Sterling Marlin up there in the second position on the racetrack. Kurt Busch takes a look to the inside of him. Remember, he's out there trying to get a lap back, but he only has 2 fresh right-side tires after pitting under green.
Kurt Busch needs to be real careful, and he is. Sterling gave him room. Sterling kind of knows he's a set and duck there.
All right, let's go down to Tony Stewart's pit and Dick.
Coach Gibbs has just come out of the medical center. How's he doing?
Well, he's just real sore. He started complaining at about 250, lap 250. And I think he's just real sore right now. It's a tough time for him to move the wheel or anything.
And they're working on his back right now in the medical center.
So Stewart, after he complained of pain, ran another 125 laps.
Hey, I've seen the times here, guys, when I wish I could change drivers at halfway and have me a fresh driver up against these guys that are already worn out.
Right now, Todd, the Tony Stewart car is in 21st positions. How many cars on the lead lap? And actually, last October at Charlotte, Tony Stewart decided to fly home to surprise his sister for her wedding. Todd Bodine got in this race car and practiced the car in final practice.
Runner-up Kurt Busch with a new paint job. His sponsor, running a sweepstakes, wants to give some fan a chance to win $1 million. Kurt Busch closing in on the race leader.
Guy's having a wheel to run, Larry.
Yes, he is. For a guy that didn't sound very confident about this place a couple of days ago, he got that track position, though.
Yeah, he said, you know, he kept telling us, I've only been here 3 times. Give me a break, you know.
For more, here's Steve.
Mike, interesting strategy may be playing out here in the 97 of Kurt Busch. Jack Rouse has told Jimmy Fennig and Kurt Busch that they can make it the rest of the way on gas. They like the tire wear. They may not stop again the rest of this race, taking a page out of Elliott Sadler's book from a year ago.
Shades of last year.
And a lot of crew chiefs talked about this morning in the garage area. You know, I talked about Tony Glover earlier, talking about lap 350, 150 to go. These cars can run 160 or 70 laps on fuel. But Darrell, if we get up there after about 75 laps on these tires, 75 to go, with 21 cars on the lead lap, I believe I'm going to give you 4 if that caution comes.
Please don't leave me out there. And I'll tell you a guy that's really got a pretty good hot rod. We haven't said much about all these. That 28 car. He just keeps inching his way to the front.
Yeah, Ricky Rudd is now up to 8th place. And he's done it the hard way through traffic, position at a time, having a strong run.
Started in 20th position. This is a brand new car, new Hopkins chassis. 48 starts here, 28 top 10s, but he's never won a race here.
Good run for Rudd today. Darrell, what's it like to climb into a car halfway through a race? You did it in 1977, I think, at Talladega.
Yeah, I did. I relief drove for Donnie Ellison. I won the race. The car was fast, just like Tony's was here. And I got in there and got myself squared away. And after a few laps, I was running as good as he had been and ended up winning the race. So it can be done.
And where these guys had 53 seconds to change driver, Talladega, you probably have about 3 minutes and 53 seconds.
We had plenty of time. I had me a couple of cold drinks and hopped in there and took off.
Here's the 5th place battle. Jeremy Mayfield, who had a great pit stop, went from 14th to 6th on the stop. And now he gives that position up to Jeff Burton.
Now, he's got to have some good pit strategy, because I've watched his car. Hadn't been all that good. It's been pretty loose on him. But there he is up there in 6th place.
We see our promo for Texas in 2 weeks. New surface on that racetrack. They're going to be welling in excess of 200 miles an hour at the end of the straightaways.
Be smoking down there. We'll find out who's got downforce and horsepower down there.
Better believe it.
It's going to take 2 weeks to get ready for Texas after today.
And that's just about the cars. We'll have to find out a few things about the drivers, too.
112 laps to go in the Food City 500 at Bristol. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading Kurt Busch by a narrow margin. There you see the battle for 6th place. Rusty Wallace, 9-time winner here, closing up on Jeremy Mayfield. 12 cautions so far. See if we can stay green for a while. .400 laps go up on the board at Bristol, Tennessee. 100 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is just that far ahead of Kurt Busch.
Yeah, and Kurt Busch is fixing to POD. Pounce on Dale.
All right, what we're seeing right here, we're looking at the miles per hour in interval between Earnhardt Jr. and Busch, and this would be at the end of the backstretch at the highest RPMs. There you see the frozen right there, pretty close to him. We're seeing that on the stopwatch as well. Both of them running about a 16.5 per lap.
Junior gets through traffic just a teeny bit better.
Here you see Kurt Busch about a third of a tenth behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. right on his rear bumper. We'll look at the same split again. Kurt Busch almost a mile an hour faster that time, that lap.
As soon as he gets back and can get clear track, he's faster than Dale. Now, can he get around him? That's the thing. But I believe if Dale makes a mistake, he's going to get him.
All right, there you see down to a quarter of a tenth. Let's look at it one more time down the backstretch. A lot quicker that time.
He's packing that thing in the third turn. Let me tell you why, because he's looking in his rearview mirror.
But in defense of Dale Earnhardt Jr. that time, he ran up on the lap car of Buckshot Jones. That slowed him down a bunch.
You got to go, though, because Spence is closing in fast on both of them. I think Dale Jr. is holding up the 97 car, allowing Spencer to catch up.
But Dale Earnhardt Jr. is protecting the bottom of that racetrack. It's just going to be hard to pass him on the outside unless he uses lap traffic as a pit.
You know how you do that? You get him looking in the mirror. And you'll go right by him. As he looks back, and he'll go up the hill, and you'll go by him. Now, there's a number of ways to get him looking in the mirror, by the way.
Get low, you're clear, you're clear.
The modifieds, a great short tracker named Eddie Flemke used to have a trick. He'd hold the wheel with his knee and make a sudden movement with his hands. The driver ahead, be looking in his mirror, would go that way, would go the way Eddie's hands went. He'd go by on the other side.
Anytime you're looking back, you're losing time.
Right.
But Dale, I believe you're right. He's much faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr. You look at the nose of this race car right here, Kurt Busch, the 97, and we've not heard anything about it for 3 days here. Race number 6, aerodynamics, forget it.
Whoa,
chassis,
park, drive, front straightaway, park, and Stacy Compton.
Caution is on the Speedway.
The two cars that were involved in the crash last week at Darlington go spinning to bring out our 13th caution.
What a break for Todd Bodine and Tony Stewart car. He was about 2 seconds away from being lapped.
Todd's having a heck of a time with that car. He's just been all over the racetrack. It's real loose with him.
But he's got enough time in it now. He can tell Greg Cimpadelli and those guys what he needs, and they can make some adjustments on this pit stop.
Tighten me up, please.
Park trying to get rolling.
That's just a difference in driver style. Some drivers like for the front tires to be sliding a little bit. Some like the rear ones.
Okay, DW, tell me what that car's doing, buddy. 49 laps since we went racing. I'm sure I want to give up track position, but I'd like to get my last set of tires on here right now. If I'm at the front, I don't think I am, but if the back of the lead lap cars, I believe we will.
Car's okay. Give me some ice.
Here's what happened to bring out this 13th caution.
Oh, he just gets around there, Park does.
And then Compton spins to miss him.
Of course, Stacy's already been, he's had trouble. So car probably not driving exactly like he'd like for it to.
By the way, that incident last week where Park was the leader trying to lap Stacy Compton, upon further review, Park accepts full blame for what happened.
Just a little impatient, as he said.
And right now, they just now opened pit road for the leaders, so we'll see who's going to fold them and who's going to deal them.
We got 100 laps. We've got 90 laps to go. I don't think I'm going to stay out there on those old tires.
And I believe I'm going to do what the leader does. Leader is on pit road.
Oh, Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch stays out along with Jimmy Spencer.
Whoa, Dale Jr. is alone. He's in the lonesome valley.
Yep, Bobby Labonte comes in. Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace.
Got a wall.
Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick pit. So does Mike Skinner. Steve?
Mike Dale Earnhardt Jr. told Tony Eury Jr. and Sr. that he was spinning his tires a little bit coming off the corner. Tony Eury Jr. made an air pressure adjustment. Tony Eury Jr. on the front tires, Steve Wolf on the rear. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is back onto the racetrack.
Rusty Wallace is in, Kevin Harvick, Mike Skinner.
And I believe that's a good move, though, Mike, because Dale Jr. wasn't as fast as Kurt Busch. And I don't think he was as fast as Jimmy Spencer. So he had to come in, Dick.
Well, Rusty Wallace came in because he was not getting the bite he wanted off the corner. They had decided if the leaders came in, they would pit. And in the rear tires, they were going to drop a pound out of both of them to try to fix that problem. Just a moment ago over the radio, just before that pit stop, Billy Werberman came on and said it's 50-50. I don't know what to do.
Mark Martin pitted. So did Ricky Craven, Terry Labonte, Todd Bodine, and Dave Blaney. So we're under caution yet again. 13th yellow of the day. A very strung out restart. We did not expect Kurt Busch to pit. They intended to go all the way on their tires. The 7 cars behind him did not pit. Jimmy Spencer, Jeremy Mayfield, Ricky Rudd, Jerry Nadeau, Matt Kenseth, and Kyle Petty. None of those drivers pitted under this caution.
There you see the Fox tracks right there. Jimmy Spencer in second, about a half a tenth behind leader Kurt Busch.
That moves Kyle Petty up into the top 10, running in 7th.
He was one of those 8 cars elected to stay out. And Kurt Busch, the best thing he has going for him is those 7 cars behind him that are on equal tires to him.
Well, his car just looked like it got better and better and better on this long run. And of course, you got to give Kyle a real call here. And Spencer's having a hard time getting around.
Well, he probably knows, Kyle probably knows he's going to lose some positions, but you got to give him credit for hanging out, still being on the lead lap.
He's done a good job.
Over 4/5 of the way through this race.
Both Steve Park and Stacy Compton returned to the race after that spin. Let's get out of the leader's pit, Steve.
Mike, with Jimmy Fennick. Jimmy, tell us about your decision not to pit.
Well, based on last time here with Elliott and Sadler, Goodyear made an excellent tire here, and I think Travis is way to go. So just the time to stay on the road.
Kurt Busch, sophomore driver, trying to make those tires last for another 80 laps.
And it's just like he said, they're looking back at what happened here last year. This is the same way Elliott Sadler won the race. Worked in, ought to work now. What they need to do, though, is throttle him back just a little bit and save something for the end here. Now, you don't want to use your stuff all up.
All right, but Jimmy Spencer is coming, Matt.
And he's got less than 80 laps to get him. Like, really, Jimmy and his crew chief, Doug Randolph, went back and forth on whether to pit or not, but Jimmy just said the car, it feels awfully well on old tires. He said, let's take our chances. The car feels good. I really like the way it comes up off the corner. And remember, yesterday, Spencer nearly won the Busch Series race here in Bristol. He has one Busch win here in Thunder Valley. Would love to have a Winston Cup win. Hasn't won in nearly 8 years. He has a lot of motivation in that cockpit today.
Well, he really does, because his teammates won 2 races, and I know that he'd like to add his name to the win list.
Spencer missed the Daytona 500, so he comes here only 35th in points.
All right, what we're going to do, we're going to check the miles per hour on Kurt Busch leading the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is back in 8th. That's old tires versus fresh tires. This will basically be at the end of the front stretch. Kurt Busch 125 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 2 miles an hour faster. So that's fresh tires, Dale. And where Kurt Busch is going to need those fresh tires, he's fine right now. He's by himself. When he has to start manipulating that lap traffic, maneuvering that race car.
Coming up off the corner underneath somebody and having a grip to get on by them, that's going to be the problem.
All right, into the front stretch right there. See Dale Earnhardt Jr. still almost a mile an hour faster that lap, about a half a second behind.
But I sure do like the view from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Dale's got a long way to go and a lot of traffic to get through to get to Kurt Busch. Jeff Hammond?
Guys, I just totally disagree with what those guys just did, because they had too many laps, in my opinion, to run. So far, I've watched guys like Mark Martin as well as Jeff Burton stay out on old tires, and they've gotten past about 30 laps into a run. I believe this is the same thing that's going to happen here toward the end of this race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will eventually run him down with about 25 to go. He'll be all over Kurt Busch.
Jr. just got past the 7th place car, Kyle Petty, who did not stop. Everybody in front of Jr. right now did not stop for tires. There's the interval.
Yeah, and I can't totally disagree with Jeff, but Jeff, Kurt Busch is coming off turn 4 right now. He's at the line right now, and Jr.'s just entering turn 3. So he's going to have to slow down a whole lot.
So, Darrell, you'd rather have track position than tires?
I like being out front this late in a race.
Right.
I can breathe a little easier.
These laps wind down in a hurry when he gets to this point.
Oh, yeah. They go by. The first thing you know, you just look over and there's 20 to go.
For Kurt Busch, his 48th Winston Cup start, only his 8th short track start in Winston Cup racing. His best short track finish, 18th in Richmond last May.
And one of the busiest guys right now is Kurt Busch's spotter on top of this building running around. We're getting to you, let me by. We're getting to you, let me by.
68 laps to go. You're watching NASCAR on Fox from Bristol, presented by UPS. Welcome back to Bristol, where Ricky Rudd has just moved past Jeremy Mayfield, making a change at 3rd place now with 59 laps to go. Kurt Busch leading Jimmy Spencer, so Rudd now at 3rd, leads our Koch family of drivers. Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte, and Jeff Burton in the top 10, and Tony Stewart will get credit for that finish, whatever Todd Bodine is able to muster.
Well, Todd looks pretty good now. They got new tires on the car for him, and he's driving.
We got a change for the lead right here. Jimmy Spencer, he's down the bottom of the racetrack right here. They got Hermie Sadler out there in number 2 car. Break and get in the corner right here, Darrell. Right around the bottom.
Got to let him go. Got to fall in behind him. Try to pass him back down here somewhere.
Clear.
Come back under him sometime, but just let him go right now.
Whoa, he hit him.
Go.
Busch got under him and muscled Jimmy Spencer. You don't see that often.
Spence is hanging on for dear life.
Get it up. You're right. Outside.
Big save for Spencer.
Message received.
Outside. Still out there.
You see him wiggling the car back and forth, Darrell. He got down on the apron, picked up all that trash on those hot tires.
He just hoping he didn't cut a tire down in that contact.
Now, Sterling Marlin probably could have passed Spencer right there, but they are teammates, and Marlin's a lap down. Here it is again.
Like I said, get back up under him, and there he goes.
Many guys will save a car like that.
Ooh, a bumper for a bumper.
And not many guys would go up against Jimmy Spencer like that. You just think you'd let Spence go.
Well, the nice thing, Darrell, is when you're in that car, everybody weighs 3,600 pounds.
Kurt Busch ain't a very big kid.
No.
His arms aren't real big. But I guarantee you his heart's big because he is driving the wheels off that car right now.
All right, guys, I want to talk about those guys that pitted. And right now, the one that's up front, the closest, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's in 7th. He's actually lost ground, though, to the leader, Kurt Busch, because he can't get around Jerry Nadeau in his 25 car, even with those fresh tires.
Kurt Busch is in really good shape for a while, Larry. But what's going to happen to Kurt Busch is just like what Jeff was talking about. And you said, when we get to traffic, can he maneuver through traffic on those old tires?
And he's not many laps from lots and lots of traffic.
No, and they're kind of clusters. There's about a cluster of 20 cars here that he's going to have to work his way around.
All right, here we see the Fox tracks on Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is the leader. See, it's over 7 seconds. It wasn't that many laps ago. It was 5.5 seconds, and he's actually slipping back from Jerry Nadeau right here.
See, Junior's got the same problem that we see week in and week out. You get back in traffic, cars are so equal, it's hard to pass, and you always say, well, what happened?
Yeah. But we saw that in practice yesterday, Darrell. We started studying the practice charts. There was 30 cars all running the same speed.
16 flat, pretty much everybody.
The fastest cars on the racetrack right now are the ones that have track position. Jimmy Spencer, Jeremy Mayfield, and Ricky Rudd, for the last couple of laps in the row, have been the 3 fastest, and they're running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Again, it's all about having the ability to maneuver, and you just can't pass people. Just because you're faster than they are doesn't mean you're going to go by.
We're going to take a break here so we can bring you the run for the checkers. Kurt Busch leads Jimmy Spencer after a game of bumper tag. .39 laps to go. Kurt Busch the leader. Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd with a strong car, but a long way to go to catch the 2 leaders. Pole sitter Jeff Gordon brought out a caution at 1/3 distance, spun up into the wall. He's back running 24th. Only 3 cars in the garage: Sadler, Trickle, and Nemechek.
And Jeff Burton in the 99, he was on the lead lap in the top 10, started falling back, and he's come to the pits here with 38 laps to go. Steve Burns.
Well, there we saw the crew jump to the wall all of a sudden. They don't know exactly what's wrong. They don't know if he has a vibration, but they had to come in and give him 4 new tires late in the race.
So, guys, you know what this is going to be about, don't you? Hundreds. Kurt Busch's spotters over saying, how many hundreds will it take for you to get out of my way? Whoa, Todd Bodine just about got turned around by the 36.
Kurt Busch, he has caught about 5 or 6 cars with the lap traffic right here. They're going to really hurt his lap times. He's hung behind Steve Park right now. Mike Skinner in that 4 car. And these guys trying to stay on the lead lap. In the meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer, he is reeling them in.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, Mike Skinner and Casey Atwood are trying to stay on that lead lap as Busch moves under Steve Park.
There you see on the Fox tracks, the interval's really closing right there. Again, Kurt Busch is caught behind those cars and can't get by him.
And what happens is you need to be able to come off the corner wide open, but you got to have the whole racetrack to do it. And these guys are taking your line away. And here comes Big Jim.
Yeah, but he's got to pass those same cars, Darrell.
Yeah, but Diamond Jim's making it through a little easier. Looks to me like.
We got the report from the 99, Jeff Burton. It was a flat tire that he had here under green.
Spencer gives Park just a little bit of bump, and now Kurt Busch opens up an interval as he's got a little clean track to race in.
You know, we've talked about this before. You'll race the leader trying to stay on that lead lap, but once he gets by, there's no need in holding up the next guy.
We just saw that with Steve Park. He just moved right over and let Jimmy Spencer go by. Nothing gained for him to race Jimmy Spencer.
No need in holding him up.
Steve?
Yeah, just want to follow up on Jeff Burton, Larry Mack. They thought they had a tire going down, but Jeff Burton just radioed in and said he thinks something broke and he thinks something is wrong with the steering on that 99.
And he just pedaled it just in front of the leader.
Yeah, you see smoke. I just saw smoke coming off that car, that 99 car.
Moments ago, Jerry Nadeau, Jeremy Mayfield battle for position.
Not for long.
We just talked about 100 laps ago, these guys settling down. Somebody told them, hey, there's 50 to go. You need to get both hands and feet up on that wheel.
That's right. We got about 8 laps to go here. It's time to stand on the gas if you got any left.
Right now, there's 2 cars between Kurt Busch and Jimmy Spencer. It'd be the 20, Todd Bodine subbing for Tony Stewart, and Mike Skinner in the 4 car.
Well, last year we had a first-time winner in Elliott Sadler.
Based on the same pit strategy, stay out when everybody else came in.
They're the other first-time winners here.
I just got to say it again this week. I love a Goodyear's new tire. A year ago, you couldn't have done this. But now with this tire that we've got, you can stay out there and ride all day long.
You know, right now, Darrell, Jimmy Spencer, he's not getting off the corner like he was. And I just wondered through all that melee a while ago when he was about to spin out.
Yeah, just like then?
Just like then.
I'm sorry.
But I'm just wondering if he slid those front tires in and has hurt his tires here just a little bit.
I'm sure he has, because he was out of control all the way down the inside of the racetrack. Kurt Busch's car still looks really nice. He comes up off the corner. He's able to make the passes, and that's what he's got to be able to do.
For 25 more laps.
Another young gun.
We're going to look at another split here on miles per hour. This is with Kurt Busch with Jimmy Spencer. We're going to look down in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Kurt Busch leading the race. Down the middle of 3 and 4, 102 miles an hour. Jimmy Spencer 3 miles an hour faster right there in the middle of the corner.
Now this kind of reminds me of that crew chief thing when y'all call me and say I'm catching the leader, and I say, if I am, how come he seems like I can't see him as good as I could a while ago? Getting smaller.
Kurt Busch has never finished in the top 15 in a Winston Cup short track race.
Wow. We're going to look at the other end of the racetrack. This would be turn 1 and 2, Kurt Busch versus Jimmy Spencer. Right down in the middle of the corner, right before we get the throttle up.
Oh, Hermie Sadler has hit it hard. Caution.
Caution is out. Lower right front tire, that's not what Kurt Busch wanted to see at all.
No, that's not going to make him...
Todd Bodine trying to get his lap back. He gets his lap back.
Like. Just stay up,
and he's the only one to get a lap back. Mike Skinner tried, but came up short.
There's a bunch of cars coming. You can stop right there until they come out, and I'll turn you down February.
Well, now what do we do?
Well, your bed's
you can't
made
pitch.
now,
Your bed's made. You got to lay in it.
You got 20 laps to go.
Yeah, I got a right front go down, and it's...
Here's what happened to the Little Trees car of Hermie Sadler. Ow. Cut tire, concrete.
Yes, it was. And they run an inner safety liner only on the right side here in Bristol.
We got into the wall.
A tire within a tire.
Now, I tell you who could be a problem for everybody based on lap times is Ricky Rudd.
Yes.
Ricky Rudd's got a good race car, and he just needed to get caught up.
Turn in right there. You'll have to
So
go
we got us a race
record.
on our hands here for the last, whatever it's going to turn out to be, get this car off the track.
Behind that record.
20 to go, so Rudd will pull up behind the 2 leaders. Steve Burns.
Mike, just listening to the radio communication between Kurt Busch and Jimmy Fennig, that caution had just come out, and Kurt said, we've got to stay out. We've come this far. Let's stay out. Jimmy said 10-4 on that. But also, Jimmy then told him how the 41 was running. He said the same thing that Larry McReynolds said. The 41 wasn't getting off the corner that well. So Kurt Busch knows that in the closing laps of this race with 20 to go.
Jimmy Fennig has 16 Winston Cup wins, 14 with Mark Martin and 2 with Bobby Allison, including the '88 Daytona 500.
Well, now, you know, if I'm Kurt Busch and I look back and I can see Jimmy Spencer, I bet he's smiling.
Oh, yes.
Because this little incident a while ago, when Spencer's back up, here he goes. Spencer kind of doesn't really say, I wouldn't say roughed him up.
Well, a little.
Just let him know he was there.
He let him know he was there. But now here's...
And Kurt Busch just repaid the favor.
He puts the crossover move on. Jimmy goes up in the corner, scoots him up out of the way, and adios.
And Jimmy, what a job hanging on to it Spencer did.
I'm telling you, that was a great job. Jeff, what's going on down there?
Well, guys, I'm telling you right now, what we're seeing is one whale of a race getting ready to shape up. We were just talking when we were off camera that if this caution does come out, it's going to bring everybody back up there together, and that's what a lot of these guys really needed.
Let's talk about the experience of Kurt Busch at his 48th Winston Cup race. Has never won. Obviously up there battling with a guy like Jimmy Spencer. Advantages, disadvantages. We've seen them go toe-to-toe, and Jimmy has shown that he can dish it out and take it.
Well, I hate to tell you this. I've worked with Kurt Busch. If there's one guy out there on that racetrack that once he gets behind that wheel, he's not intimidated, it's Kurt Busch. If he gets an opportunity to win a race, I don't care who's in front of him, he's going to give him a good run for the money.
All right, if let's, you know, we had a big brawl yesterday, a couple of fights. If we look at the tail of the tape of today's matchup here, Jimmy Spencer weighing in at 230 pounds. Jimmy, I never forget, he never forgets, against Kurt Boom Boom Busch, who has a slight disadvantage when it comes to height and weight.
Floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee.
So you have the experience, the heavy, the veteran, against the lighter Kurt Busch, who has plenty of experience, but certainly not in the victory lane. And certainly this would be a great place for him to get another first-time winners, their first Winston Cup victories at Bristol, if Kurt Busch could do that. Dale Earnhardt back in '79, Rusty Wallace in '86, Ernie Irvin in 1990, and Elliott Sadler, of course, last year, who had problems today. Don't forget, on Fox tonight, strap in for a special Sunday movie presentation with Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. It's the epic adventure Independence Day. That's tonight at 7, 6 Central, right here on Fox. 17 laps to go. And we might have a Hollywood ending, or at least after yesterday, certainly not the fireworks, but the drama building with Kurt Busch running first, Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd all the way up to third, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. currently running fourth. Let's go back upstairs. Mike, Darrell, and Larry.
Well, Kurt Busch has his work cut out for him now. He has Jimmy Spencer right on his bumper, and he has the fellow who's been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack in this last long run, Ricky Rudd, right behind Spencer, then Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte.
And here's the thing. I know that Kurt Busch is saying he's just a kid. And I know he's sitting there saying, I knew this was going to be hard, but I know it was going to be this hard. You'd have to make it difficult.
Now, we're in the 25-lap rule here, which is still a double-file restart, but only lead lap cars to the outside. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in fourth. He's the one that has the freshest tires, but it's like restarting this race in eighth because of the lap cars on the inside.
Very important to get off to a good start here. Don't spin the tires and get Spencer up in the back of you. I've seen that happen a couple times here. Going to be good shape here for a few laps. Then you're going to catch up with the back of the field. Got a good start. Good clean start.
Now, Sterling Marlin does not challenge to get his lap back because he allows his teammate, Jimmy Spencer, to go through to try to challenge Kurt Busch.
But he will challenge Ricky Rudd for third.
Came right up in front of Ricky Rudd.
Absolutely.
So it's a two-man battle right here. Kurt Busch's car still looks pretty good, Larry. There's no traffic.
No traffic, and he should not get to lap traffic with 13 to go next time by.
That's going to be the key. If he can stay out of lap traffic, get clear sailing. I believe he's a little quicker than Jimmy. Just drive. Don't look back. Drive your line. Hit your marks. All the things that you guys tell us all the time.
Right there, turn 1 and 2. Jimmy Spencer's not being able to get back to that throttle like Kurt Busch. He drives it down in the corner, but he can't get off the corner.
12 to go this time.
Jimmy's actually losing a lot of time off the turn, and Dale Jr.'s hung up back here trying to get around the 31 car. So everything's working Kurt Busch's way right now.
Just like it played out for Elliott Sadler here 1 year ago.
Not so sure the caution wasn't a good thing. Larry, cooled the tires off, let him get his breath, think it over, have at it.
When you're on that hot of tires, definitely a little cool down period. Don't help him none at all. Hurt him none at all.
Still there.
Matt?
Mike, under that caution, Jimmy Spencer told his crew chief, Doug Randolph, I feel like I've used up all the tires. He said, don't worry about it. Maybe they'll cool down under this caution. Doesn't appear so, Mike.
Well, second's going to be nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, I don't know about second because that 28 car is there.
Well, Sterling is the jam car right between them. I think Rudd's going to have a hard time getting to Spencer.
I believe Nascar will probably suggest to Sterling that he moves out of the way.
Well, they continue to wave the blue flag with the yellow cross, which means you're a lap car, leaders are coming, move out of the way.
Oh, that was almost a wreck all over the place.
Big traffic jam.
Holy cow. Everybody had their tires smoking. Some from being sideways, some from blocking them down.
Bobby Hamilton had trouble. Everybody did get through. 8 laps to go.
Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd in the 28 car, he gets by Sterling Marlin, so he's got his sights set on Jimmy Spencer right now. Really pulls up on him here off turn 2.
Really quick through the center of the corner, and that's just a product of better tires, I believe.
Well, I like where Kurt Busch is at right now. He's got almost a second lead on these boys. 8 laps to go.
And Rudd's sitting there saying, if I just had another 10 or 20 laps.
Kurt Busch is in the driver's seat right now, boys. Coming around, it'll be 6 to go this time back.
And right now, Jimmy Spencer just playing defense, trying to protect second place on the bottom of the racetrack.
And those magic words, I love them. You're 2 seconds faster, or 2/10 faster than the guy behind you, and you're pulling away.
Oh, it is a beautiful thing.
5 to go, and you're pulling away.
Kurt Busch started 27th. Ricky Rudd has all but caught Jimmy Spencer now. But Rudd's tires have got to be pretty worn out as well.
Catching him and passing him, that's going to be the hard part.
Kurt Busch pretty much has clean sailing. 4 laps to go this time by.
Oh, he can pedal that bad boy home now. Keep your nose clean, no traffic. Best thing could happen to him. Got a good restart.
Earnhardt Jr. fourth, Bobby Labonte, good run, top 5. Then Matt Kenseth, rookie Jimmy Johnson, and Jerry Nadeau.
Jimmy Johnson, Nadeau, those 2 Hendrick cars up there in the top 10. Good day for them. Kevin Harvick's in there in the 10th place.
Actually, Jimmy Spencer's starting to pull away a little bit from Ricky Rudd right now here as we'll get the 2 laps to go this time by.
2 to go, man. 2 to go. Bring it home.
2 to go. Bring it home.
He probably won't catch the lap traffic ahead.
Oh, he's fine. He can draft. Just do a little drafting right there.
Bail out, Mike Joy.
White flag.
All right, he's already celebrating. Don't say anything. Get it on around here.
Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvan, Elliott, Sadler, Rusty Wallace, and now Kurt Busch is a first-time Winston Cup winner at Bristol. Jimmy Spencer a car length ahead of Ricky Rudd for second.
Good car, good car.
In his 48th start, Kurt Busch gets his first win. It's only his 3rd race at Bristol and his first top 20 finish here. And he becomes the 5th winner in 2002 in 6 races.
And I'm so proud for Jimmy Fenning, his crew chief. He was Mark Martin's crew chief. They've not won a race since back in April of 2000. I believe Steve Burns is with him right now.
Yeah, with a happy Jimmy Fenning. Gutsy call to stay out there, Jimmy. What does this mean to you?
I'll tell you, this team's they've been working hard all year. You know, we've been close, but I'll tell you, Kurt did an awesome job. He's the man.
A lot of laps to stay out on those tires and not come in.
Yeah, but Goodyear's got a good tire. I'm telling you, Rick Campbell and them guys, my hat's off to Goodyear. Love them.
Notice anything from last year when Elliott Sadler won the same way?
Yeah, everybody should have paid attention.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Kurt Busch salutes the crowd.
He is a happy camper.
155,000 people here today, and I'll bet no more than 100 left before the checkered flag. And Robbie
what are they doing here?
gets in the back of Junior.
What happened was the 31 car raced the 8 car all those last few laps there and held him up. And Dale Jr. got into him back here coming down pit road. And Robbie just turned him around.
Boy, that first win, Darrell. You remember that first win, buddy?
Man, Nashville, Tennessee.
Now, this is what you do at the short tracks. You come up and you see the starter, and you get the checkered flag, and you take it for a victory lap.
That's the way you do it on the short tracks. That's
right.
Saturday night racing, you come around and you ride around carrying that checkered flag. Hee-haw.
You think the starter will ever get that flag back?
No.
I doubt it.
And here's a guy 2 years ago was in the Truck Series, and here he is, won his first Winston Cup race today.
And 4 years ago was stocking shelves in the local supermarket in Las Vegas, his hometown.
Oh, that's
now,
awesome.
He's a Winston Cup winner.
I like it. And you got to know something. Take Dick, go Dick, go Dick.
All right, we got a little problem down here, little altercation with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and a couple of other folks. Dale, what's cooking?
Damn 31 wouldn't get out of the way. Lap down, racing the leaders with 10 laps to go, but that's why that's why it takes 3 or 4 times for him to finally get into the Winston Cup Series, because he don't pay attention, he don't know what he's doing.
Wow, second fight in 2 days down here on pit road.
Yeah, the second in 2 years here after the checkered flag at Bristol. Whammo. Last year it was Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart.
Hey, Rob, man, you stir shit up.
This year it's Robbie Gordon and Earnhardt Jr. Yesterday it was everybody.
But you heard the spotter right there, and that's I'm gonna put my crew chief hat on. I don't like that, because there's a fabricator back at that shop now has to fix that race car.
He bent the whole race and didn't bend it up too bad.
We're going to debut the new Victory Lane building at Bristol. Kurt Busch goes past the inspection station.
You reckon those dollar signs, those dollar bills were on there for a reason?
He'll peel them off and take them to the bank.
I told you it was going to be hundreds.
Okay, now this is kind of new, folks. Instead of driving into Victory Lane, we're going to go up on top of this parking garage up atop the Goodyear building.
Up on the roof.
Up to Victory Lane.
Look at all those guys following. Wait for us. Wait for us.
Kurt Busch has worked his whole Winston Cup and his whole racing career to get right here into a Winston Cup Victory Lane. Second win this year for Jack Roush. Yep. Matt Kenseth at Rockingham. Kurt Busch at Bristol.
What did he tell us? He's 23 years old?
I think that's right.
23 years old. Won him a Winston Cup race.
Not bad.
Jimmy Fennig's 17th victory as a crew chief. 14 with Mark Martin and 2 with Bobby Allison at the Stavola Brothers team. And for the second straight year, this race has been won by a first-time winner. For the second straight year, there's a banging and collision on pit road post-race.
It's just Bristol. What can you say?
It's just Bristol.
We're going to have a holding area.
Matt Yoakum.
And the 23-year-old gets the big handshake finally from his veteran crew chief, Jimmy Finney. Curry, as more Gatorade comes in. You have dreamed about this for a long time, my friend. Congratulations, you finally reached it. What's it feel like?
This is unreal. This is absolutely unbelievable. I just have to thank the whole Jack Roush organization for making that swap, giving me Jimmy Fennick, Sean Parker, this whole group of guys. This was awesome. We had pit strategy. I don't know why the 8 pitted, and Jimmy Spencer forgot about what he did to me at Phoenix last year. This was an awesome run for Rubbermaid. Sharpie on the car, $1 million offer. You can't get any better than this. This is Bristol. Hopefully come back in the fall race and do a double at the Sharpie 500.
Now those tires must be worth $1 million because you went 157 laps. Were you concerned at all?
I saw Elliott Sadler do it here last spring. These tires last forever. Goodyear brought some good stuff that just keeps lasting. Jack brought the engine that keeps lasting. This was what it's all about, a team effort. It's just, this is it, it's victory lane. Woo!
Then another handshake by Jimmy Finney. Steve Burns, 162 laps on one set of tires last year for Elliott Sadler. This year, 157 for a new first-time winner here in Bristol. Steve?
All right, thanks, Matt. With Robbie Gordon. Robbie, what happened at the end of the race with Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
I don't know why he would be running into me after the race. I mean, he's the one that knocked me sideways early, and he tried to run me into pit wall, so I hit him back. You know, we had a good car all day. Singular car was a good car. Jeff Gordon snookered me at the start. You know, that was unfortunate. I mean, he started to go, and then he stopped and let me get a stop and go. So, you know, it's just the way it goes. You know, Bristol's always exciting. I got to be honest, I had a lot of fun today. The car worked really good. We had a car that was easily good as a top 10 car. Just got to be up there to run there, and it's just really hard to get through traffic.
Robbie, this may be a dumb question. Is this a frustrating place to race?
It is, because so many times you can be as a victim of circumstance. Like, I was running along just fine, and Dale Jr. decided to, you know, move me out of the groove. I lost 20 positions right there at that point. So, you know, I didn't quite understand why he did that early in the race, and then after the race, why he ran into me again on the side. So I don't know what I did to make him mad, but hey, nobody runs into me.
Thanks, Robbie. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Jimmy Spencer finished second. He hasn't smiled since he got here. What happened between you and the winner, Kurt Busch?
Oh, he just smashed into the back bumper of my target car, but it had a big bullseye back there, and I guess he couldn't see too good, and he ends up winning the race that way. But I'll tell you, Team Target just ran really well today, and you know, I just think that it's pretty neat to come out of here with a top 5 finish. I felt like we should have had that last week also. The team is really, really strong, you know, and we'll get wins. There's no question in my mind we will, and the guys have done just an absolutely excellent job making calls on these cars, adjusting them, and we're getting better every week.
Second time you finish here in second position at Bristol, Tennessee. Jimmy, everybody thinks you're going to win. What do you think?
Oh, I know it. I think I'm going to win this year, and I'm going to win more than once, Dick. You know, I really truly believe that. But you can't race. There's a lot of things you can and can't do, and one thing you can't do is just beat and bang with people and knock them up out of the way, especially racing for the lead. And you know, I notice a lot of guys don't do that, and they're the Winston Cup champions, like myself and Gordon did earlier in the race. And I really admire him the way he raced me, and I raced him. And some guys have to learn. They just have to learn the hard way.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Mike?
Thanks, Dick. Hope you've enjoyed our UPS post-race show here. We're going to need 2 weeks off to get ready for Texas. All of us, the whole circuit.
Yeah, Saturday, yesterday, you know, big fights. Today, big fights. But that's what this place does. It's just so tense.
Kurt Busch, Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd for third, Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Labonte top 5.
Gets his first top 5 ever at Bristol. Good run, Jimmy Johnson just keeps on every week. Top 5, top 10.
They do there, and Rusty Wallace in the top 10 again. Mark Martin is up 11th.
18 cars finished on
Kyle
the lead
Petty.
lap.
Good run. His best days.
Lead lap all day. Tony Stewart with Todd Bodine finishes 15th.
Well, it doesn't get a whole lot more exciting than this. 13 caution flags, 7 shy of the record, thank goodness, but only 4 cars ended up this race in the garage area. Here's Dick Berggren.
Ricky Rudd started in 20th spot, finished in 3rd. Hey, are you mad at anybody or are you happy?
No, I'm happy to come from 20th at Bristol and not have a dent on the race car is just about impossible. That's the first time I've ever been able to do that. But we had a really fast race car. This Haviland Taurus ran good. The guys in the pits, great pit strategy all day. We weren't seen really until about 150 laps ago, and it was sort of intended that way. This car was very good on the racetrack. There was a lot of fast race cars today. This car was untested, brand new race car, and so I think we sort of know where our problems are, what to work on. So hopefully from here out we'll be playing some serious catch-up.
Congratulations on a great run. To Chris Myers.
All right, Sterling Marlin came in as the points leader, cut a tire. It hurt him in the big picture, Jeff Hammond, and no driver leading in points after 5 races has won a championship since Bobby Labonte in the last 8 seasons, and Ryan Newman taking a hit here as well. All right, Kurt Busch, you actually were his crew chief for 7 races. Kurt Busch, a 23-year-old, one of the young guns. His favorite band is Metallica. They have a song, Hero of the Day. He is the hero of this day. Retook the lead on lap 445, nudging the veteran Jimmy Spencer.
As I said earlier, the guy cannot be intimidated. I was wrong about the pit call. Great job, Jimmy Fennick, but I knew this kid was going to win. Jack Roush told me back when I did work with him, he's going to be a good race car driver. Better now. I think he's going to be a great race car driver, and Jimmy Fennick's going to make him that way.
It took 48 races for Kurt Busch to finally win his first Winston Cup race, and he picked a great place to do it. As you said, fearless numerous times. Jeff, how about the incident afterwards? This is how it started when Dale Earnhardt Jr. bumped Robbie Gordon, and then after the race, Robbie Gordon retaliated.
Well, again, this is Bristol. Earnhardt Jr. felt like he was done wrong. He didn't have an opportunity to come back. This is what happens. But I disagree with what these guys are doing. This race is over with. You got a problem with one another, get out and settle it man to man. This right here is being disrespectful to the teams. You could hurt somebody on pit road, and I don't agree with that.
All right, Tony Stewart again did start this race, was relieved by Todd Bodine, who wound up finishing 15th, helping Tony Stewart, the Joe Gibbs team, in the big picture in terms of the points race. All right, we're going to take a break next week, and we'll be back, though, live from Texas. We wish you a happy Easter week if we don't see you. But on April 5th, Friday, Winston Cup qualifying. That's on Fox Sports Net. Out in Texas where everything's big. Saturday, April 6th on FX, Winston Cup practice, followed by Busch Series Racing, presented by Old Spice. That's on Fox. And then Sunday, April 7th, start your race day with NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice. That's on Fox Sports Net, followed by the Samsung Radio Shack 500. Dale Jarrett, your defending champion in Texas. That's on Fox. The pre-race show, the NASCAR Victory Lane, wraps everything up. And UPS, the official, when you see that little brown truck come by, you know I'm going to tell you about the official delivery company of NASCAR, delivering a chance to win 4 tickets to the 2003 Daytona 500 on Fox by logging on to foxsports.com. The key word, UPS Racing. And Kurt Busch, it was a matter of patience and survival. Finally, knowing what it feels like to be in victory lane at a Winston Cup race, and a big win for Roush Racing. Ford has won 4 of the last 5 races here in Bristol. Pamela Anderson at Kid Rock, part of the more than 150,000 fans that came out to enjoy. They saw Tony Stewart return to action. Jeff Gordon struggle again. Sterling Marlin hang in the points race, and Ryan Newman, the rookie, take a bit of a beating. Our thanks to Director Artie Kempner, producer Neil Goldberg, tip producer Pam Miller, coordinating producer of NASCAR Richie Zion, senior producer Bill Brown, Ed Gord, and David Hill.